Coming to you from Hersey Stadium here on the campus of Bridgeton High School in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard to a great championship Saturday afternoon for the NEAFL Championship. Will be happening in just a few minutes between the Jersey unit as well as the Jersey Jaguars, and they will be rocking here in what is going to be a fantastic afternoon of football ahead. And we hope everybody's doing well here today. I'm Tom Wilkins, along with Juan DePena, and Howard Gaber, of course, always taking care of the controls. We apologize for the little feedback that we had by accident, in case you heard, but Juan, of course, is joining us. He's the defensive coordinator and general manager of the Garden State Herd, and he knows both teams, the unit and the Jags, rather well. In fact, his team played both and lost both by an identical 12-0 score. So what do you see about these two teams today, Juan?
First of all, good afternoon, Tom. It's great working with you once again. Hopefully we can have a great broadcast. The unit and the Jaguars are eerily very similar. Both of them have stout defenses. Both of them have explosive, high-powered offenses. And one of the things that I find interesting in this is that the fact that we're looking at the number 1 and number 2 rated offense and defensive teams in the NAFL for this season. So it's going to be real interesting to see what dynamic happens with these teams going forward.
And as you had mentioned, Juan, you have the Jags, who were first in points scored with a little bit over 30.5 a game, and they've been, talk about stingy, leading the league with only 2 points allowed for the 9 games that they have played, which is really tremendous if you think about it. Meanwhile, for the unit, they are second. They've actually allowed just under 3 points a game, and for points scored, they've scored just under 21 a game, which is second. So this is actually going to be a very scintillating contest with contrasting styles. You have 2 very good defenses, 2 of the highest offenses in the league, and now they're going to go head-to-head, and it's just going to be a matter between which offense plays what defense and who gets the better of it in each side. So what are you expecting in regards to what the unit are going to do on offense and the Jags defense responding, and vice versa?
Well, both teams, their signal callers are going to be the ones who are going to be dictating what happens in this game. And if they can both get going, it'll be beneficial to both teams. The unit have Juan Rodriguez, number 14, dynamic passer. He's one of those guys who doesn't necessarily run a lot, but he's looking to get himself open to find that open window and get the ball out to his 2 top receivers, number 2, Kareem Stewart, and number 6, Ronald Butler. On the other side, we have Jaquil Bailey, who had to take over for the quarterback position for the Jaguars after injuries and suspensions, and he's been lights out. He's more of a scrambler. I spoke to him this week. He told me that he wanted to be able to just get the ball to his playmakers. He's got a lot of guys on his offense that he really, really trusts. He wants to be able to get the ball to his guys, and whenever he can make a play, he'll make a play. With that said, both defenses are led by outstanding pass rushers on both sides of the ball, solid secondaries, and some heavy hitters at the linebacker position. Like I said earlier when we first opened up the broadcast, these guys are really very eerily similar in how they do things. Okay. So we have the captains out there right now.
Yes, I actually noticed the unit. They have Vince Moore as well as Juan Rodriguez, who you mentioned before, and James Rousseau, who are the captains for the unit. For the Jaguars, a bunch of them as well. Looks like they got Reese Goodwin. They have Jaquil Bailey. They have Dominic Townsend. And, of course, as I look forward, you have Jonathan Inge. A lot of veterans to the semi-pro world. Terrence Frazier and Curtis Jones. They are all out to participate in the coin toss. You'll notice that the Jaguars, they are dressed in all black pretty much, and they have gold uniforms with like a kind of like more like a dark aquamarine trim. And as we mentioned, Jaquil Bailey, he's the one, number 7, speaking with the officials right now. The Jaguars, they are led by head coach Zoe Martinez, and of course with the unit, they are led by Raheem Wilson. So I would have to say 2 different coaching styles, and I see there's going to be a lot of suspense in this game. It's going to be more of a big chess match as to who's going to win this championship game.
Absolutely. But basically, it's two different type of offenses. Raheem Wilson runs the offense, or is an integral part of running the offense for the unit. And what he wants to do is he wants to stretch you horizontally. Okay, he wants to be able to use the entire width of the field and then eventually come over the top with his playmakers. He's also has three really, really good running backs, all built the same, real short, stocky running backs who run really hard, and they've got a really good offensive line. So they're going to try to go horizontally on you. The Jaguars, on the other hand, it is a track meet. They've got a bunch of guys who are speed demons. Number one, Maurice Hubbard. Number two, Nadir Smith. Those guys are speed demons. They are burners, and they're trying to put the ball over the top and expose the defense. So one of the key players for the unit when it comes to that, when I spoke to Raheem Wilson this week, was he spoke of defensive back number 5, Perry Mims. Perry is a corner for them, and he's going to be tasked with guarding either Hubbard or Smith one-on-one and play that lockdown corner position, and hopefully the rest of the defense can take care of the rest.
And Perry is a veteran as far as defense, and not just with his unit team, but let's also not forget that he has done so much for so many other teams. He's been very solid, and he has had longevity, so I'm sure he's probably going to be one of the big leaders as far as the unit defense is concerned. I think that's going to be a very critical part. We see a lot of people on both sides, on both rosters, that are veterans to the semi-pro life with so many other teams, so many other leagues and other things. And now you got these personalities trying to come together and join to try and come through with a championship for 2022. What do you believe, Juan, is going to be the key to whomever wins this game?
The one thing that the unit has over the Jaguars are a team that are relatively new. Okay, the unit have been together for several years now. The coaching staff, back and forth, have been together for a while. The unit's experience as far as playing together might be their edge. The edge for the Jaguars is going to be their I don't care attitude. If you follow the Jaguars all year on social media, they will tell you how good they are. They'll show you how good they are, and they'll remind you how good they are. Led by Zoe Martinez, who's probably the most outspoken coach in the league. Zoe has no issues going against players, against other coaches, even the commissioner himself. And that's an attitude, because I've spoken to some of his players, and that's an attitude that those guys love about Zoe, is that he is one of those guys who will ride with them, and it's contagious. So it's going to be an interesting game of contrasting styles as far as personalities. However, it's going to be a game of intensity.
I think both teams are going to come out and test and be intense on both sides of the ball here. Now, both teams, they come in with an 8-1 record. And, of course, you're looking at one team which won by a single point over the Central Jersey Knights, while another had an easy one over the Philly Phantoms. Now, we understand that the Jaguars will get the ball first. They will receive. Not sure if they won the toss or if the unit won deferred, but it will be the Jaguars getting the ball first in their all-black uniforms with gold numerals and like an aquamarine trim. The unit basically in all-blue uniforms with darker blue numerals and some whiter trim on the side, or more like a yellowish. A little hard to see there. But anyway, the Jaguars will be moving left to right. The unit right to left will switch sides during the second quarter. So I think we're going to be in for a good one. I think we're going to see a bit of a chess match. And based upon the attitudes and everything else, as Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. And when both teams are going in 8-1, you know you're daggone good. But we'll see which one goes through with a 9th win and a trophy in a couple of hours from now. So, Juan, you ready for this one?
Hey, as ready as I'm going to be.
Obviously, the players on both sides are about set to go. Referee about to blow his whistle as he does right now. Looks like it'll be Jacob Hefner to kick off for the unit, and we are underway here from Bridgeton. A one-hop kickoff, live ball after 10 yards, and overrunning and losing the football and having to fall on it. I believe that was number 12, Jameer Robinson, who kind of passed him, who when passed the ball had to go back, pick it up, and then just fell down. So missed opportunity to gain yardage and field position, but it will be Jaguar ball first from about the 22-yard line.
And again, it's one of those things that we can't get sloppy with the ball, especially a day where we're expecting possibly some more rain. Ball security is going to be a key element here. One of the things that I want you to pay attention to as we go along with the game is the unit linebacking core led by number 1, Vince Moore, and number 11, Anthony Green. They have various linebackers that bring in there that they can all play physical football. Number 3, Vince Moore, and number 10, Javier Garcia. That's a key there. If those linebackers can downhill and stop that run game, it could be a long day for the Jaguars.
Well, 71 degrees at kickoff as Jaguar Bailey goes empty gun. The opening play of the game going heavy on the left. 1st and 10 to 22. Low snap. Has some time. Now he's being chased. He's in trouble, and he ends up throwing it away out of bounds. The nearest player there was Jameer Robinson. It didn't get back to the line of scrimmage, but I believe the officials said it was in his direction, so they're not going to rule intentional grounding.
Right, and that's one of the things you're going to have to look out for this game today is the tackles for the Jaguars against the speedy defensive ends for the New Jersey unit. Nadir Mack, number 8, number 7, Jared Mays. Okay, the unit don't have traditional defensive ends. What they have are speed guys who can beat most offensive tackles quickly. So that quarterback is going to have to let go of the ball quickly.
And speed, especially 30 years ago, that makes such a difference in the way how the game of football has changed. All right, 2nd and 10. Here's a power handoff going to about the 28-yard line. Najee Gibson, the veteran running back, goes through for a gain of 6. So it sets up a manageable 3rd and 4. So now the unit's got to be on their toes because it could be a run or a pass based upon how the offensive line blocks.
Right. And one of the things that I've seen that the Jaguars do, they do run an RPO here. So these defensive ends are going to have to be very, very disciplined and force that throw to come down.
Looks like they're going to set up in a 4-receiver set, tripling the far side. 3rd and 4 from the 28-yard line. In the shotgun is Bailey. He'll await the snap. It's going to be that inside handoff, and the unit are ready for him because he only gets a yard on the play to the 29-yard line. Once again, Gibson, and that forces a 4th and 3, and that could be a 3 and that could be a 3 and out. As we mentioned, Vince Moore, he makes a stop, and the unit, they're up and ready to roll, and looks like that the Jags might be going for it here on 4th down. Is it too early?
Listen, the ball's on the 30. They already are in field goal range for the unit if decided to do so. It looks like they may be punting, but I wouldn't put it past them to fake punt here.
That's also possible. They are changing personnel here, but they're taking their good old time as to doing it, but wouldn't be surprised to get a little pooch punt out of this. They bring in the game Tamaji Blair, probably to get the punt off, and you mentioned fake punt's a possibility, so they are lined up in a punt formation. That's exactly what they're going to do. And it's a decent punt as it goes out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. So it may have only been a 30-yard punt, but it got the job done, and the unit will begin right at their 40-yard line. So good job on the part of the unit holding the Jaguars to 3 and out. I mean, remember, Jaguars' top offense in the NEAFL, and the unit, they came through big in this opening drive.
I mean, you couldn't ask for a better start for the unit. Not only did they get a 3 and out against an explosive offense, but then they turned the ball over, had them turn the ball over on the punt, and now they're going to start at their own 40. So right now, early on, things are going the way the unit wanted to go, but this drive here is going to be very important as far as what happens going forward. They have to at least establish some type of a drive, eat some clock, even if they don't score. Put some pressure on the Jags to maybe have to do a little bit extra on offense.
All right, this will be our first look at Juan Rodriguez at quarterback. It'll be interesting to see how he comes through. Now, you've mentioned right at the beginning how Juan has played extremely well these last few weeks, coming on because of injuries and other circumstances. So they go offset eye here on 1st and 10, 3-wide slot right. And a fumble already on the opening snap, and it's recovered by the Jaguars, who will cross the 35 down to the 32-yard line. A very fast mishandle exchange, and the Jags forced the turnover right off the bat. And I believe that was Deron Maxwell who was the one who recovered it and gets the Jags possession again in plus territory.
And after all that I just said about the perfect start for the unit, we have on the very first offensive snap a fumble exchange on the handoff. Deron Maxwell, one of the key guys there, for the Jaguars.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we show you the replay as to what happened here on that missed exchange? It looked like everything happened just way too fast. How do you say this?
Basically, what it is, it's a high snap on the high snap to the quarterback, and then the handoff is all thrown off because of that snap, and there you go.
That's a very good point because it wasn't a perfectly thrown snap, and it's probably nerves or something between both teams. But anyway, here's Gibson getting through a tackle on first down, and he gets himself to the 21-yard line, 11 yards on that play, and that's already a first down for the Jags, who are trying to take advantage of that early unit turnover.
And the Jags right now are starting to establish themselves. What they're trying to do is the same thing that they did against my team, the Garden State Herd, and their 12-0 win against us, is they're trying to establish the run game early. They know that everyone understands that they have an explosive passing game. They're trying to make the unit have to come down and play 8 in the box. And once the unit comes down and plays 8 in the box aggressively, they're going to try to expose them over the top.
And we've noticed after the opening pass, it's been 3 straight runs of Gibson, and offensive line doing its job so far. Here's Bailey in a shotgun with a back to his left, 1st and 10 from the 21, and they give it to Gibson again, gets into the red zone, dives his way to about the 17-yard line. So another 4-yard gain. And so far what we've been seeing, despite the talent for the unit linebackers, looks like the offensive line has been gelling very well for the Jags so far.
I mean, and that's one of the key things here with both offensive lines. They have to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and that's the old adage in football. If you do not control the line of scrimmage, you're never going to win the game. So what they're doing right now is they're making the linebackers and they're making the defensive tackles of the unit have to make these plays by running right at them.
Let's see how they line up this time here on 2nd and 6 from the 17-yard line. Jags looking to put the opening points in the game, and they go spread here. Back to the left of quarterback Bailey. Now it looks like Gibson switching to the right side. Bailey will wait the shotgun snap on 2nd and 6. He has it. It is a pass. They're coming for him, but he's going to run, and he's going to find some way to get maybe a yard, possibly back to the line of scrimmage. But that was a play that was very slow to develop. But a good tackle on the part of, I believe it was Mike Rodriguez we have. He was the one with the tackle there and forces a 3rd and 6. Do you think there was just a little breakdown in communication there?
I mean, a little combination of a breakdown in communication, but also, like I've stated to you before, the unit have a lot of outside blitzers, a lot of outside pressure guys who are all smaller but quicker, and they're going to give fits to these offensive tackles for the Jaguars if the Jaguars aren't careful.
Well, they're going to go spread again, and Gibson will line up to the left of Bailey on 3rd and 6 from the 17-yard line. They're going to give the run, and this time the unit's ready for him. So Gibson maybe, it looks like he might have lost a yard on the play with forward progress. So the unit step up on 3rd and 6 and forces a 4th and 7 thanks to Anthony Omega Green with the tackle there.
Now, the one thing about the Jaguars is that they do not have a field goal or a place kicker. So everything for them on 4th down, unless it's a punt, is going to be they're going for it. So this is a stop right here that the unit needs to have in the red zone. If they can limit the Jaguars from scoring here, that fatal almost fumble at the beginning will be negated, and now the unit can continue on.
And that's the one thing adversity teaches you. How do you bounce back from a mistake, especially in this game? All right. Same folks here in the spread, 4th and 7 from the 18-yard line. Bailey waits a shotgun snap. He's back. The rush is coming. Going to lob it for the end zone, and it is knocked away, incomplete. And I think Moore might have knocked it away from his counterpart, Maurice Hubbard. Actually, it was Perry Mims who was able to knock it away.
And that's one of the things that we spoke about early on, Perry Mims shadowing number 1, Maurice Hubbard. Coach Wilson stated that earlier to me this week that he needed Mims to have a very huge game for them to be successful. That was a great throw by Bailey, put it right where it needed to be. It was, best man go get it, and, Mims did a great job there. So now the unit was able to dodge that bullet of the early fumble, and now we're going to see what they're going to be able to do. One of the key matchups here that I want you to focus on is I want you to focus on number 0 for the Jaguars. Okay, Reese Godwin. Reese was an MVP in this league, and he is one of those speed defensive rushers. He's going to be going, I believe, against Tyler Petracio, offensive tackle for the unit. talented young player. I believe it's his first year in the league. So that's a matchup that you may want to watch.
Here's Rodriguez. Oh, that was almost looked like a direct snap, and it's a handoff with a flag down, bouncing to around the 29-yard line. Very close to a first down, but there was a flag right in that offensive line, and it looks like the indication's holding against the unit. So that was a tough one, but the snap was also a little bit shaky. But was it intended to go directly to the running back there?
No, I mean, obviously, they don't have any plays that they have direct snaps to the running back. However, that is the type of running back that you're going to have from the unit. Number 33, Talik Chambers, hard-nosed runner, a veteran of multiple leagues, and that's what they want to try to establish from the beginning. They want to try to establish that run game.
That would have been a first down if it wasn't for the holding penalty, which will take him back 10 yards from the spot of the hold, which will be so it happened at the 22, so they'll back it to the 12, and it'll be 1st and 17 from that 12-yard line. So let's see what Rodriguez does, and looks like they were going to go empty gun, but instead they're going to have a receiver, actually a triple on the right. Here's Rodriguez. He's going to throw a deep ball left side, one-on-one coverage, and it's caught. It is caught beautifully. That is Shafi Harris, who brought it down at the 46 for a 34-yard gain. I mean, it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball, but it was perfectly placed one.
That's one of the things that Rodriguez brings to the table. Okay, he is the type of guy who's going to put it exactly where it needs to be put. And credit to Harris, who had the concentration to bring that ball down and then get his 2 feet down into the sideline. Great pitch and throw by those guys.
And you're right, beautiful concentration, because the defender had him pretty blanketed, and it was like, well, what do I do? Do I let him catch it, or do I try and knock it away, or am I going to get pass interference called on me? So many things go through your head at that point. All right, delayed handoff on 1st and 10, getting to about the midfield stripe, 4-yard pickup there. So it looks like they're trying to mix up a little bit of run and pass.
Yeah, once again, that's going to be Jab Thompson. The unit, like I said to you before, they're going to try to establish that heavy run game, that power run game, and then causing the Jaguars to come in and then come up over the top. These guys have very similar offensive strategies. If you look at it, they're both really aggressive with the run game, and then they're going to try to expose you over the top.
So after a 4-yard gain by Thompson, it is 2nd and 6 from the midfield stripe. Again, Rodriguez in a shotgun, back to his right, triple on the right too. Looks like the Jags are going to try and show blitz here. Will they back out or not? No, they're coming a little bit, but Rodriguez back, throws off his foot. I know, just missed it, incomplete. Well, they intended that one, I believe, for Ronald I beg your pardon, that would be Kareem Stewart, one of the veteran receivers, but Rodriguez threw off his back foot, and that would have been a tough catch for Kareem.
And now that you mentioned that name, Tom, I'm looking at the sideline for the unit, and I don't see Ronald Butler at this moment. I don't know if he's late arriving or if he's not in my view. But if the unit do not have Ronald Butler, that's a guy who returns kicks for them, guy who returns punts for them, a big receiver. That's a big weapon for them, and that's a disadvantage for them when he's not here.
So it'll be 3rd and 6 from the midfield stripe. They change up the 4 receivers set to a spread. Rodriguez making sure everyone's in the right place. He'll be in the shotgun with the back to the right. Let's see what the Jaguars show on defense here.
I would watch Stewart in the slot here. That might be his target.
Here's Rodriguez. They're coming. A throw right, way too high, incomplete. Blanket coverage by the Jaguars that time by Deron Maxwell. But that throw was way high over the receiver they intended. Right. So it ends up going incomplete, and it ends up being 4th down. Now take a look at the very top of your screen. You'll see Juan Rodriguez's numbers. Right now, 1 of 3 for 34 yards. Bailey has yet to get completion in 2 attempts. You'll see that throughout the game at the top of your screen for those of you watching here for the NEAFL Championship game on HSG Network. Subscribe to us only on HSG Network. Well, folks, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, why don't you subscribe now? We even got some stuff coming next week up in Kutztown. So make sure you check us out on HSG Network. Plenty of stuff coming for the summer. So feel free to come on by and tell your friends about us.
I mean, listen, I've subscribed to worse channels.
Well, the punt wasn't pretty. There's a flag down as the return is happening. Crossing the 30 and getting to about the 40-yard line. That was Javin Inge who returned it, but there was a flag down on the snap. We'll see what the officials talk about here. So I kind of found it interesting because the snap was there. The punt was a lower line drive than the Jags punt in the opening series of the game. But the officials are going to discuss. But now have you seen both teams have 2 possessions? And obviously one really wasn't much of a possession because it was one play and a fumble. But what have you seen about these 2 teams so far as this chess match is going?
Neither team is really trying to show too much right now. They're trying to, it's again like a boxing match. Okay, this is a championship game. Both teams are just throwing their jabs out there, trying to feel each other out, see what's going. Offensive coordinators right now are looking at what kind of defenses the other team is doing. Are we looking at cover 3? Are we looking at cover 2? A prime example of that is that last play that the unit just ran, where they had Stewart in the slot. It looked like he was going to run a post corner. He wanted to see if that cornerback on that one side was going to either go into cover 4 or he's going to be playing man. I would guarantee that we'll see that some combination of that play one more time, where he's going to be running into that with the man coverage underneath. He's going to be running into that top high safety and then run him off into the corner route. So that's one of the things that the unit is doing. The Jags, on the other hand, I think they're trying to establish what it is that they're trying to do as far as offensively is concerned. Primarily, like I said before, they're trying to establish the run game. Once they get the run game going, they're probably going to try to get Bailey going with some read option type plays, some QB keeps type plays, some QB sweep type plays, and then expose that big passing game that they've killed so many teams.
Well, the reason for the delay, the officials are discussing multiple fouls. There were 2 flags down about the midfield stripe. There's also another back at the 20-yard line where the ball was returned. So multiple infractions, and that's why the officials are taking their time in discussing what happened here. So I guess they're trying to figure out where to put the ball.
Listen, I've been there before. I've been in those huddles before. They're not talking about what the call should be. Okay, what they're talking about is, where do we go eat after this? Okay, they're asking, where's some good sushi around here? Where can we get some Mexican? That's what they're discussing right now. And then you see one of the owners of the unit, Manny Batista, with the chain around his neck. He's probably saying, "Hey, we could go to Carrabba's."
Oh my!
Howard loves Carrabba's. Olive Garden. He's already made a petition to John Zaplinski, the commissioner of the league. Next year he wants the league championship game to be in Newark, so they can go to we can go down to Ironbound and have some of that Brazilian food. We're lucky to have John in the booth with us today. So,
well. Yeah, they're still discussing. You might be right about that, given the length of them talking as to what's happened. Now, if you may also notice, normally we do have a clock to tell you how much time is left in the period, but the official time is being kept on the field because there is no operating score clock. So, I see what it is. So we have, so we had basically offsetting unsportsmanlike, but we also had an illegal substitution foul, which means we're going to punt again after all this. It's going to be, it's 4th and a yard. So this changes the strategy, Juan. I mean, think about this. You got 4th and a yard. You got a chance to throw the Jags right off their heels because everything's so magnified in a championship game. You look at, offsides, false starts, illegal formations, substitution violations like what we have just seen. Those are basically the mental penalties. The 5-yarders are the mental penalties. The 15-yarders are usually the physical penalties. And mentally, you have to be in this game. And really, I look at it as the team that makes a fewer mistakes ends up winning this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if the unit decided to go for it on 4th and a yard and possibly try and get the Jags off their heels.
If I'm the Jags defensive line here, I am watching that ball, and I'm not moving until that ball moves. Because if I'm a smart quarterback, I'm going to hard count him to death, make him jump, let us get a quick, easy first down on this play. I would be very shocked if you don't see that exact same play with a hard count with Rodriguez under center.
Or you send it immediately on a quick count to jab. We'll see. 4th and a yard from the 45. There's your jump.
And
There's your jump. Oh, my goodness, the hard count worked. Juan procrastinating perfectly and getting a first down for the unit.
Hey, I've watched a football game or two in my lifetime. Sometimes you get lucky, Broken clocks right twice a day. But
well, you are true. It happens every 12 hours.
Yeah, but you know what? That's one of the things that I ingrain in my herd defensive lineman is watch the ball, because a lot of these guys are going to hard count. They're going to try, especially under 5 yards, because if you jump off sides, and again, if this was a cleaner snap, now at this point the unit could have had a free play, and they could have taken a shot for the end zone. If nothing happens, interception or whatever, hey, it's a free play for them. But these are the little mistakes that, now this is 2 straight plays where the Jags have given the unit some life. You can't make those type of mistakes and be a championship team.
And that's why you're basically piggybacking off my point. The team that makes the fewest mistakes ends up being the winner of this game. It should be for every game pretty much, but sometimes it's a crazy bounce of the ball that'll just throw you completely awkward. So now for the Jaguars, they now have to really dig in as the unit have 1st and 10 at the Jag 40-yard line. Rodriguez again in the shotgun and a spread back to the left. A high snap. He catches it. That's going to be a broken play. And thanks to that high snap, he had no shot of getting the pass off, because coming through was number 35, Tamaji Blair, who actually blasted him for a 10-yard loss.
And that's one of the things that the unit's going to have to go into the sideline and take care of that right away. Rodriguez, to begin with, is not a tall quarterback. I believe he might be 5'8". That's what he's listed as. So that snap has got to come down a little bit lower. If he's got to jump up and get it, now he's concentrating on something else other than downfield. And all of a sudden, he's now scrambling for his life. So that's something that the unit offensive line coach is going to have to handle, get that straightened away the next time they come back to the sidelines.
Is it also possibly center nerves, too?
I mean, if this is the center that I think it is, he's had plenty of times playing in these type of games. He shouldn't have those type of things. It's just little hiccups sometimes when it comes to snapping.
All right, 4 receivers set. They bunch a triple on the left side on 2nd and 20. And they're going to fake the handoff. Oh, they're coming after him. And Rodriguez loses another 10 yards. And coming down with that one, Dominic Townsend, the veteran defensive end, back-to-back sacks. And just when you thought the unit had the momentum, the Jags are like, oh, no.
Now, Goodwin and Townsend, again, 2 veteran defensive ends. You've got a league MVP at one side, and you've got a league veteran, a league champion on the other side. Those tackles, Padrizio and Muggsy Johnson, are going to have some issues if they do not get out of their stands and extend their arms and put hands on these guys. Neither one of these guys are really big guys, so that's the problem. I mean, Dom might be the bigger one of the two, okay? Dom might be one of the bigger of the two, but Goodwin is lightning fast, and Juan Rodriguez needs to be able to step into the pocket and be able to make the throws. But if he's got these defensive ends coming in hard like that, you're going to have an issue.
Well, why don't we take a look at that sack again, as I believe the unit have called a timeout here late here in the first quarter, and we'll show you the replay as Dominic Townsend just came out of nowhere and Rodriguez had absolutely no chance.
Yeah, so you got, at the bottom of the screen, you have Dom Townsend against Muggsy Johnson. Johnson was a very, very good offensive tackle. He just never got out of his stance. I don't know what the play call was, and at that point, it's just a fait accompli that this play was going to get blown up. Maybe there was a count that he wasn't understanding or what it was. Whatever the case may be, very uncharacteristic of Johnson not to be on point like that. But if that's going to be a trend in this game where Goodwin or Townsend is going to be able to beat him around the corner, that's the offensive lineman. That's the best offensive lineman that the unit have. If that's what it's going to be, then the unit going to be in a lot of trouble today. And
it sure looked like that. And you mentioned about Reese Goodwin on the left side. I believe he'll be the one that gets the sack because he literally brought him down. They might give Townsend like half a sack because he had him a little bit by the jersey there before Goodwin took care of bringing him down. But that sudden 4th down offside, and I'll tell you what, that woke up the Jags. It's 3rd and 30 from the 40-yard line for the unit. Same formation as before, a triple on the left. Rodriguez throws up the middle, gets a short gain to the 47-yard line. Good catch. That might have been Kareem Stewart again.
Right. I mean, in a situation like that, it's fourth in a country mile. You're not going to get it all back, not against a defense that's this good. So you're just trying to maybe move the ball a little bit and, give yourself some room, try to pin the Jaguars down. The punter for the unit is going to be number 20, Kenny Prelude. Kenny is one of the fastest guys in this league. So a fake punt here, and they ran it last week against the Knights. A fake punt here is not necessarily out of the question. You may want to keep an eye on that.
Well, if they're going to make a fake punt, they're going to need 23 yards out of this. So for a 4th and long, I don't know if that would be the right thing, but I think field position at this point, given it being late in the first quarter, that would be, I think, the objective here. Then if you have in close range and you're trying to get the momentum back, when you have 4th and shorter, probably. But 4th and 23, I doubt it. And now, what do we got? An official timeout?
It looks like it's a timeout by the unit.
Yes, the unit called timeout.
And I believe that's a second timeout, correct?
They're throwing back-to-back timeouts on back-to-back plays. So at this point, it looks like the Jags have really gotten the momentum back, but now if they want full momentum, it's up to their offense to do their job. So right now, that seems like a lot more pressure on the unit because obviously the offense for the unit getting completely submarined by the Jags so far in this last series of downs.
And one thing you do not want to do, you do not want to use timeouts on special teams in the first quarter. Okay, that's just where the miscommunication was or whatever the case may be. You don't want to waste those timeouts. You want to save those for those 2-minute drives at the end of the halves and stuff like that. But right now what the unit's got to do, obviously there's some kind of miscommunication on special teams. There's a miscommunication with the center quarterback exchange. There's a miscommunication with their offensive line. They've got to kind of hone themselves in. The first drive looked a little bit better than the second drive. Get themselves together, kind of be like, okay, we're here now. We're playing with a really good team. We know what we need to do. Let's just settle ourselves down and keep doing what they're doing. While the Jaguars are starting to kind of pick up on their intensity and on their confidence.
All right, they come for the punter, and it's a pretty good punt. And it's going to roll all the way back to the 12-yard line. Picking it up, I believe, is Smith. And Smith going to try and reverse direction to about the 25-yard line before he's taken down. So I tell you what, Nadir Smith, he went all the way back to the 12, and he had to scramble a lot with his movements to get himself a 13-yard return back to the 25-yard line. So that is where the Jaguars will start, and I believe we have reached quarter time based upon where everybody is moving. So the quarter time score in the NEAFL Championship game 2022, a no score between the Jersey Jaguars and the New Jersey unit. So you're right, Juan. This has been a feel each other out first quarter. Now the real punches, I think, are going to start at this point.
Well, anyone who came into this game thinking that it was going to be an explosive shoot-'em-out type of a game obviously has not been paying attention or doesn't know about the NEFL and know about these two teams. Even though both of these offenses have some weapons and they can score, and I've seen some big plays from both of them, both of their defenses are lights out. You don't have two defenses that give up less than 3 points a game and expect you're going to have a shootout here.
It's possible this game could be a 3-0 final score based upon how these defensive plays. But you also got to consider, too, eventually somebody's going to be giving up something.
Yeah. One of the things we're going to look here now is at the bottom of the screen where we're going to have Maurice Hubbard and Nadir Smith together. They may work some kind of a combo route here against the two Hulls, Dre and Devon.
Let's see what happens here on 1st and 10 for the 25. Split backs between a shotgun, and it's going to work for an 11-yard gain once again. That's Gibson for 11 yards on a first. I thought it was a first down. He's going to be a yard short, so it's going to be a gain of 9. Good tackle, I believe. And the ball's going to be spotted at the 36-yard line. I was being told it was number 36 with the tackle, and it turned out that was actually the down line.
Yeah,
but
I asked Jaquil Bailey this week, who do you lean on the offense? And he gave me a surprise answer. He told me Zachary Schaefer and Warren Kay, two of his offensive linemen. He goes, whenever we need to make some big plays, we like to run behind them. That's the center and the right guard. And on that play, that's exactly where they went.
And once again, they go split backs on 2nd and a yard. Wouldn't be surprised for another run. Who knows, they'll do up the middle again. No, it's going to be his own number, but a flag is down. That may negate everything. as taking it is Bailey. He'll go out of bounds at a 45, but I think it's coming back on a hold, but we'll see what the officials say. But the flag happened literally as soon as Bailey took off and had the hole, and I think even the Jags realized, I don't think this is going to be allowed.
Well, this is what you're starting to see. You're starting to see that the Jags are trying to establish their run game, and then now they're going to try to establish getting Bailey set up into this game, and trying to make sure that Bailey has some kind of a footprint on this game with these QB keepers, these QB sweeps, these QB runs, and make it happen. However, the offensive line has got to be smarter and not hold.
Well, following the holding penalty, which puts him back at the 26-yard line, you go from second and a yard to second and 11, and obviously the play call changes here based upon that position. So instead of being a shotgun between split backs, there's going to be a back in the left. Looks like it'll be Gibson next to Bailey. They go triple right here. On second and 11, Bailey away for the shotgun. Hard counter looks like. And wait a minute. Whistles blow before the play, and I believe somebody jumped. The question is who? It is on the Jaguars for a false start. So now you went from 2nd and 1 to 2nd and 16. So I'm sure that's not going to make Zoe Martinez happy.
No, the Jags have got to stop with the self-inflicting wounds. This is now the third penalty, if I'm correct. Third penalty now that they've had where they've shot themselves in the foot. You can do that against a team that is not very good. You're not going to do that against a team who is a championship caliber team like the unit.
Penalties are going to be so magnified, as I mentioned earlier. So 2nd and 16 from the 21-yard line, a hold and a false start, back things up, and now the Jaguars want a timeout. So they'll use their first and a half. So obviously the Jags are a little bit off their game. So this is actually not a bad timeout by Zoe Martinez.
You know what? That is a great point, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of my mouth, Tom. Sometimes you make a timeout call as a coach because you see your team getting unraveled, and you want to kind of. And I've done it before with the Herd, where hey, let's calm down, let's get ourselves together, let's figure out what we're doing. Let's refocus ourselves. Let's just take a minute. Sometimes you need those timeouts. Sometimes there's something that goes on that you don't like and you want to stop it. But a lot of those times when you call a timeout as a coach is you want to get your guys kind of like, let's refocus for a second, guys. We're kind of letting ourselves go. Let's get ourselves refocused. Let's calm down. Let's worry about what we've got to worry about, and we can go from there.
And I definitely agree with you, Juan, in regards to the timeout. I mean, remember, you have 3 timeouts per half, but you're never guaranteed to have all 3. What you'd like to have, like your primary reasoning is to have them all right the 2-minute mark and then use them where needed. But in this case, given the fact back-to-back penalties, this is actually, as I mentioned, very good timeout call. So based upon what you mentioned, we'll see if this comes to fruition. So let's try it again. 2nd and 16 from the 21 as Bailey in the shotgun will take it. He's back, has time. He's going to loft one up the middle, and it's exactly what he needed. Nadir Smith, he breaks a tackle, breaks a second, to the 30, to the 20, will sweep to the 10 and come home. Welcome to the end zone. There are no flags, and what about that? 79-yard touchdown strike.
Again, and this is what we talked about. Let's settle ourselves down, and let's get to what we need to do. And what that is play our brand of football, and that's what the Jaguars did. They understood that when you're playing in a championship game against a championship-level team, you can't do those dumb mistakes. And one of the things that they did here with the unit was, if I'm not mistaken, the unit were playing man coverage. One of their best receivers was being played by a linebacker, number 11, and it was a mismatch that Jaquil Bailey was able to see and took advantage of.
His first completion of this game, and it goes for 79 yards to Nadir Smith. And my goodness, some shifty moving just completely threw the unit defenders completely flat. And boy, talk about a major jump on the sideline. We mentioned what this timeout would do. Boy, there's your answer right there.
And Nadir Smith, again, he's one of those guys that week in, week out, he has done those kind of plays. That is his bread and butter, that crossing route. I'm going to catch it, and then I'm going to run away from everybody. He's made more. I believe he made that same exact play against the Phantoms last week. That's the type of things that this team wants to do, is they want to expose that speed.
All right, here's Bailey for the 2-point conversion. He's got Gibson. I thought we had Gibson to his left. Might actually be Deshaun Live next to him. Or do you have? Yeah, 88 we have is a Deshaun Live. And now on the conversion, flags are down. That's going to be a false start. So the conversion is going to be all the way back at the 7-yard line. So that might change the play call just a little bit.
Right, but again, this is one of the things where the Jaguars, they need to take these 2-point conversions seriously, and they've got to be smart with these 2-point conversions because the unit have a kicker who can convert these kicks. They do not. So if the unit now all of a sudden go down the field and score and kick the extra point, guess what? Now you're down 7-6 if you don't convert this.
It's called every single point matters in a game like this. And as you mentioned, Juan, special teams, the fact that the unit has a kicker and the Jags do not, that could be a major role as we go later in the game. So Bailey in the shotgun, lining up to his left is Deshaun Live, the tight end. He'll take the snap, and here we go again. Another flag. But this time, it's going to be against the unit for a neutral zone infraction. So that's going to be penalized half the distance, and we're going to have the conversion somewhere around the 4.
You know, you give and you take. You give and you take, and the unit have to be smarter than that. You know, they made the situation difficult for the Jaguars on this 2-point conversion, and they give it right back to them. Like I said before, when you're playing a team that's not a championship-level team, you can get away with that if you're talented. But when you're playing a championship-level team, you're not going to be able to get away with those mistakes because they're just as good as you are.
And that's what makes football such a scintillating game at times when you've got two evenly matched teams. And it's just a matter of your offense against their defense and vice versa. And that's what we're seeing right now. So let's try number 3 on the conversion. As this time they will go to Live. He'll try and get around the corner, and he loses half a jersey, and he gets it anyway. His jersey was torn like into 2/3, and he was able to still score the conversion.
Reminiscent of Earl Campbell back in the days with the Houston Oilers. Hopefully the Jags have an extra jersey for him.
I hope so. I've never seen anything like that.
Or they have a 4th-string guy who doesn't play much, who's willing to give up his jersey for the betterment of the team. But Mr. Live was live on that play.
Well, the jersey was not, that's for sure. But let's take a look at that replay, that 79-yard touchdown strike to Nadir Smith. Look at the route. Look at the beautiful throw by Bailey. What happened there, Juan?
Okay. So from here, you see that Smith is in on that 3-receiver side over there. He is being manned up by the linebacker, number 11, right there in the middle of the screen. He outran the linebacker. You know, they came, the unit were playing man coverage. And again, Anthony Green is a great sideline-to-sideline linebacker. He will fill the hole. He will fly around the run game. But playing him against a speedy receiver may not have been the best decision by the unit coaching staff, and especially a guy who's as explosive as Nadir Smith. You know, and there you are.
I mean, I was at 2 tremendous plays in a row by the Jersey Jags. The touchdown pass and then a 2-point conversion that followed, and I think they're trying to get Live another jersey. I'm not sure what they'll get for him, but
he's literally opening up a bag right now on the sideline, and he's looking at the jersey, and it's number 56. Oh, correction, Zoe Martinez now realized that 56 was not going to be appropriate for him, and he's giving him number 44. So for a guy who wore 88 and now he's wearing 44, he's going to be your half of the guy.
Well, literally. All right, a kickoff taken by the unit back to about the 35-yard line. So Deshaun Live, I'll put it to you this way. He on the return, by the way, was Ronald Butler. So he is in, and the unit will take over at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10. And you look at Live, and the way he ran, he deserved 44. That was like Tom Rathman, the 49ers way back yonder.
One of the key things we're looking at the unit offense now is that you see that long flowing dreadlock in the number 6 jersey of Ronald Butler. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be one of the main keys of the unit offense. With Butler, they like to line him up in the slot. So when you line him up in the slot and you have a linebacker one-on-one on him, it's a mismatch. They also like bring him involved into the running game with the jet sweeps. He's a very, very key cog to this offense.
Yeah, I understand Division I player as well.
Yeah, played at Utah State.
All right, here's a handoff on first down, and nowhere to go at all for a loss on the play back to the 30-yard line. And I'll tell you what, the Jags are on all cylinders right now following the last few minutes.
Yeah, Kevin Pear on that last run. Kevin Pear is a player of the year from Staten Island in New York. However, he was known for his hard-charging type of running. He cannot do that type of move in the hole against these guys. This defense is extremely, extremely fast. He's got to hit the hole hard, and he's got to be able to get into the second level very quickly.
Well, you consider we have a large running back and we have a large defender and a fast defender. After his next play, maybe you can describe what the difference is between those two, like the strengths and the weaknesses there. On second, and it looks like 13 from the 32-yard line. Here's Rodriguez. Play fake there. He's going to go deep. Right side, and a little too high. Incomplete. They tried to get Kareem Stewart, but it was a little bit too over his head. Forces third and long. But let's get back to the point one regarding the defenders. You got the fast defenders. You have the large defenders. What's the difference between the two?
Well, with a fast defender, they just cover more ground quickly. So you have to be very quick in your decisions. You can't dance around. When you have larger defenders, what they'll do is they'll clog up these holes for you. So now what happens is that you have to alternate yourself quicker to where you need to be. Both circumstances, if you have a big defensive line, but you have a quick defensive line, they bring different aspects to the game that will hurt you or help you. In this case, the Jags are a very, very fast team, so that the unit cannot sit there and try to slow pace them, so to speak, because those holes that should be there won't be there.
Well, 3rd and 13 comes with a 4-receiver set. They triple to right. Rodriguez has a back to his left. I'm sure they might go for a middle pass here, but we'll see if the Jags come rushing. They do. Rodriguez has time, has a bounce back. Now he'll lob. He's got open a receiver. They're going to get first down out of it. Crossing near the midfield stripe, and I think it was Butler. Yeah, he came back at the right time, and they convert a key 3rd and 13, and the unit moved the chains.
And that's what Rodriguez does. Okay, Rodriguez will sit in the pocket. He wants to throw out of the pocket. That's his key. Second thing he wants to be able to do is roll out of the pocket and throw out of there to make up for the fact that he's not as tall. But one of the things he wants to let his receivers get open. He wants to let his receivers find those holes in that secondary to let his playmakers make plays.
And that was a 19-yard pickup by Butler. 1st and 10, now to 49 of the Jags. Let's see what the unit does in the shotgun. Again, tripling the left side. Oh, jumping everywhere is the middle of the line, so it's going to be a false start, and they're going to back it up 5 more yards. So like I said, got to have it all in cadence. Otherwise, the officials are going to be sharp, and they're going to get you for it.
Listen, it's just like the UFC. It's just like mixed martial arts. You never leave it never leave it in the hands of the officials. You want to make it decisive. And right now, what both of these teams are doing with all these penalties is that they're allowing the officials to dictate the pace of the game, the field position of the game. And it's not that the officials are making bad calls; it's that they're making obvious calls.
Not only that, but anything that's borderline, they're calling. And I think that's also part of it, too. I mean, this is literally the final exam for both teams, and you're going to get the hardest judges. So you got to make sure you're doing everything right. 1st and 15, and we're going to have a handoff and some hard hitting going to about the 47. Wait, the ball's out, and it's covered by the Jags, and he's going to go a scoop and almost scored, and he falls, loses the football, and lands in the end zone. What's the ruling going to be here? It's going to be an end zoner. How about that? The Jaguars score off a turnover.
Nasir Moore with the scoop and the almost score.
But there is a flag down at the 45, so not so fast. The officials are going to discuss. There may have been holding up after the fumble, so there could be a block in the back too. That's what normally happens, so let's not say this is a 2-score game just yet. We'll see what the officials say.
The more important thing right now is you have Dom Townsend, number 7 from the Jaguars, down with what might be either some type of an injury to the neck area or maybe possibly a concussion. He's really slow to get up. He's on his knee right now.
Well, the unit, obviously, they're not very happy with it. See what the officials decide to do, because everyone's huddling pretty much at midfield. Maybe the knee was down before the at the recovery. We're going to have to check a replay on that, so the officials are going to discuss, and we'll get you a replay on that in a moment. Okay, the hold happened. Oh, wow. I've never seen that before. So the hold happened before the fumble. So obviously the penalty's refused. It was on the unit, so the touchdown stands, and the Jaguars have a 14-0 lead.
Correction, 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. 14. 14. I'm sorry. You're correct. You're correct.
Maybe a century ago was 4 points, but that's okay. But they're still discussing what exactly happened. But while we want to take a look at the replay, so much happened on that last play that this is going to be hard to decipher here. So what exactly happened here which allowed the score for the Jags?
Well, the handoff came over to James Big Country Russo, number 34 of the unit, and it comes right through the hole, and it was just a big stick, and you have a bunch of gang tangles.
And then watch the recovery.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
Is that Terrence Frazier? I think what happened was Monty Suggs returned it almost all the way, and Reese Goodwin fell on the second fumble in the end zone. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to rule it basically a 50-yard fumble return to about the 2-yard line for Suggs, and then Goodwin falls on it on the second fumble, which ends up being recovered by Goodwin in the end zone.
I think the recovery, because again they do look alike, and they have this habit of keeping their jerseys all up, above their shoulder pads. You can't see the numbers, but I think it was 52.
Oh, 52?
Nasir Moore.
Oh, Nasir Moore. I beg your pardon. You're right.
Who had the scoop. And then Goodwin jumped out in the end zone after Ronald Butler hawked it down and made the strip.
Okay, well, Deshaun Live is in with his second uniform in this half. Here goes Bailey. He's looking. He's going to be chased. Going to try and get the corner. Won't get it. Knocked out of the end zone. I think Vince Moore was able to force him out, so the conversion fails, and it makes it 14-0 in favor of the Jaguars over the unit. The scoop and score using two different methods.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, now the unit, after that's their second turnover already in this half, and this one results in points. So for head coach Ryan Wilson, it's like, okay, back to the drawing board. What are they going to have to do to try and get themselves on the board here?
Well, what the unit have to do is they've got to calm down. This is where your coaching staff makes their money. This is where the coaching staff makes the money. Everybody can sit around there with, play call sheets and whistles. This is where you grab your guys, you calm them down, you tell them, hey, we just started the second quarter. We've got a long way to go. Calm them down. Offensively, what the unit want to do right now is establish some type of a flow with their offense. They want to be able to grab a couple yards here, a couple yards there. Get their guys established. Positive yardage. Kareem Stewart, who's one of their big stars, I believe only has one catch. That was a meaningless catch on third and forever. Ronald Butler came into the game. He's got one catch. Jab Thompson, who's one of their lead backs, got to get him established. You got to get Rodriguez comfortable in the pocket, quick throws, and establish some type of a tempo.
I think what we've seen, Juan, the quick throws have worked, but when Rodriguez has been waiting longer and longer in the pocket to try and do something, that's where the Jaguars have feasted on him so far.
That Jaguar defensive line, again, we spoke about those two defensive ends. Goodwin, which we've got to see, what his condition is as far as the injury is concerned. That could be Commissioner Townsend. That could be a big factor for the Jaguars. But then we also have Goodwin. Those two defensive ends are starting to show why they're doing the things that they do on defense.
Here's the kickoff. Be taken about the 15-yard line. Think they're going to – it's Butler again. He has some room this time to the 30, to the 40. He leaps over a guy and gets into plus territory just like that at about the 48-yard line. you can't celebrate too quickly, even though you're up 2 scores, because one play and all of a sudden everything suddenly changes.
And the unit right now have great field position. They're at the 50-yard line. Okay, they've got to, like I said to you before, what they have to do now is establish some type of a rhythm with the offense. You're not going to get 14 points back on one drive, but you've got to get something on the board on this drive, even if it's just a field goal. But you cannot let the Jaguars keep feasting on the momentum and you just not sit there and just let them do it. Methodical, slow-paced, and keep the Jags calm. When the Jags start getting hyped up and start getting crazy, that's when they start playing even better. This is a very key drive right here for the New Jersey unit.
I cannot agree with you more, Juan, because the unit, that this is not familiar territory for them, especially being down 2 scores. So Rodriguez is going to have to really be on his best game here on this drive. Although the return got to the midfield stripe, it's going to be a tough 50 yards, especially with the way the Jags defense has been playing. Here's a pitch out, and there's going to be some yardage here. Oh, a hard hit down to about the 46-yard line. That might have been Kevin Pear again, and he was able to come around the left side and get some positive yardage. Good way to start the drive.
Again, just that's what they need to do. Just a couple yards here, a couple yards there. Do not fall into this trap of let's have a track meet. Okay, because that's exactly what they did on the last drive. When Nadir Smith catches a big pass, Rodriguez comes back around on the bottom side of the screen here. When he went to Kareem Stewart on the one-on-one on the deep ball that wasn't even close, they're trying to match scores. They've got to stay within the rhythm and the game plan of their game.
And make sure that the ones who are supposed to make the grabs do so accordingly. 2nd and 6 from the 46-yard line. Offset eye here, 3-wide slot left. This is going to be another handoff. No, not as much this time. Down to about the 45-yard line. Probably a yard on the play. It forces a 3rd and 5. By the way, I want to thank everybody checking us out here on the HSG Network, the NEAFL Championship game. Oh, my gosh. I haven't. Dexter has checked in. Can you ask Juan to repeat that last play in Spanish? My friend doesn't speak.
Seguro, Dexter. Estamos en la 3ª y 5ª yarda para seguir para el primer down. El New Jersey unit está saliendo ahora vestido en azul. Los Jaguars de Jersey están vestidos en negro. Is that good enough for you, Dexter?
No comprendo. 3rd and 5 from the 45-yard line. Shotgun for Rodriguez. They're going to go spread. And now audibleizing and backing up into shotgun for position. They send a man motion to try and go a little heavier on the right. And whistles blew before the snap. A lot of confusion and potentially a timeout. Nope. I think it's going to be too much time. Or is it going to be a sideline warning? So the coaches are on the field, and we see this a lot here in semi-pro football, coaches being on the field, and that's why they have a sideline warning, and that's the whole reason why the play is stopped. And it happens quite often. Is there a reason for it?
Well, as a coach, you take as much as the referees will give you until it's a lot easier to ask for forgiveness than permission sometimes. So when I coach, I'm usually on the hash mark until the referee tells me, hey, Coach DePena, can you please step back? And then at that point, I'll be like, all right, you got that, Mr. Official. But it'll be the second quarter. I'll still be out there.
And Tiffany's Shazi Al-Jarrels, whatever, I can't pronounce it, but that's his son, Kevin Pear, who had that 4-yard pickup. Oh, my son, Kevin Pear. Oh, boy. But anyway, it's 3rd and 5.
That just reminded me of the Dumb and Dumber skit. The you got that.
And DJ Kennedy saying they got Coach Juan on the mic. This is going to be good.
Shout out to DJ. That's my one of my outside linebackers. Great kid. One of the future leaders of the current leader of the Garden State Herd.
All right, on 3rd and 5, a handoff. Tried to go up the middle. Didn't work. And they had to bounce to the outside. And he's lucky to only get a yard on the play to the 44-yard line. I'm actually very surprised they didn't try a pass on that play. 3 straight running plays after getting some very good field position. That's a little bit surprising, in my opinion.
And that is because of the 2 defensive tackles, Darren Howard and Monty Suggs. Those 2 guys are absolute loads in the middle of the defense. Those guys are true defensive tackles where you can't block them one-on-one, and that's why that's what happened. Interesting call here on the unit, going for it on 4th down.
I'm sorry, Dexter did respond saying gracias amigo on that next text.
De nada, Dexter, de nada.
All right, so 4th and 4. They're going to go for it from the 44-yard line. This time Rodriguez in a shotgun between split backs, 3 wide slot left. Big play now for the unit. Taking a snap. Now he's going to fire. And, oh, my goodness, a hard hit as the receiver tried to grab it. It was Butler. Could not hang on to it. There was a vicious hit, and it might have been Amin Bird who just flew in and just knocked the ball out. And how about that for the Jags? They force another turnover on downs, and their defense has been playing extremely well, especially as of late.
You know, that was a smart route run by Ronald Butler. He saw that he needed 4th and 5. He got right to the sticks. Rodriguez did a great job of realizing exactly it might have been a one-man route, to be honest with you. And Rodriguez put the ball there. That's one of those plays you've got to make. Either the pass was too high or we've got to grab that one.
And the defender knew exactly what was going to be done, and that's some very smart defense on the part of the Jags to get the ball back. And we will see what Jaquel Bailey is going to do here on this drive. 1st and 10, and here comes the rush for the unit. But the play was blown dead before it happened, and timeout's going to be called by the unit. So, a little interesting there. And why don't we throw some more YouTube comments checking us out here on HSG Network. And obviously, Juan getting some love here. Dominique Winfield. We lost to ourselves. They both trashed, but I want the unit to win so I can beat up. I can't get everything on the comments sometime, but crazy shouts to Dominique checking in here. Thanks for tuning into this game. And the response, oh, okay, so your team don't matter. Got it from oh yeah, whoever that is. So
there is nothing better than hearing Tom Wilkins recite trash talk. I can listen to that all day.
Just as long as I'm not working. You got this, Jags, according to Mike Schroeder, who I guess wears number 2 of the Phantoms, or number 92 of the Phantoms, rather. And it says XIV 88, so it's 14 in Roman numerals and 88 outside. So I'm reading everything I can here. I'm just being told. King Matos, listen to this. I would have told the refs I need a 15-yard penalty for every Jag player wearing
booty shorts. I'll say it. Wearing booty shorts. That'll get them right in good field position.
Yeah, we tried to get second line, but we couldn't do that. And we got somebody who's actually watching us on their phone and seeing the comments. So we're trying to get a little bit of help with the incomplete comments that are taking place. But those of you checking us out, thank you so much.
Wearing booty shorts.
Interesting. Wearing booty shorts.
And, of course, I can't let the comment go. Let's go, Juan. I didn't realize I had a fan club. But, again, that is my head coach of the Garden State Herd, Wayne Dabney. Thanks, Wayne.
Well, I'm sure he's very appreciative of that. So, so as far as the unit's concerned, they used their last timeout of the half. Now, meanwhile, evidently there's an official timeout as the Jags are, I guess, having an issue with the official. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to try and get everything sorted out. We'll get to resume play. Jags have really taken advantage of the unit's mistakes. 2 turnovers by the unit, 1 resulting in immediate point on a scoop and almost score by Nasir Moore, and then recovered by Reese Goodwin in the end zone. That was the last score. So it's been big plays.
A key development that I'm seeing right now is number 67 for the Jaguars. Zachary Schaefer is not in the game right now. I'm not sure he was thrown out of the game based on the last thing that happened. If he is out of the game for any reason, that's going to be huge. But he's the center, and he also makes the play calls. And he's one of the guys that Jaquil Bailey, earlier this week when I spoke to him, said that he's one of the main guys on that offensive line that he looks for. So let's see what happens here as far as his status for the game.
Well, we'll soon find out what happened there. A little unusual circumstance, but for the Jags, they have the ball at their own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. Keep in mind, Bailey's only thrown 3 passes. He's completed 1, and that was the biggie to Nadir Smith for 79 yards and a touchdown earlier in this quarter.
All right, Joe Stott right now is at center. Solid offensive lineman, young kid. But let's see if playing center, I don't know if he's ever played center before on this level. I'm assuming he has. Let's see if the snaps become an issue all of a sudden.
I was about to say, Juan, that the different snaps between the two, and there's your experience right there. So 1st and 10 for the 44. This one was a low snap. It's a handoff and driving up the middle, and they're going to say to about the 46-yard line maybe. They're going to spot the 45, so it's only going to be a 1-yard pickup. So it forces a 2nd and 9. And you might have noticed already, Juan, with the way the ball was snapped, it wasn't a spiral like it normally is.
Well, you know what? As far as the snap is concerned, I would rather have the snap a little low than have the snap a little high, because if a little low, all the quarterback's got to do is just make a slight adjustment. When the ball snapped a little bit too high, we have the possibility of the ball going over his head. Again, we've discussed neither one of these quarterbacks are statuesque in height, right? So we want to make sure that snap is closer to the ground. That way, if God forbid it's a fumble, he can just fall on it and there's less error there. But that first snap was right where it needed to be.
Well, Deshaun Live is in the game now at running back next to Bailey. They spread it, 2nd and 9 from the 45. Bailey will take it. Better snap that time. They're coming for him. They're being chased, but he's going to turn the corner and get forced out of bounds at maybe the 47. So good containment by the unit that time, forcing maybe, they're going to say, another yard to the 46. So 3rd and 8, and the unit looks like they're trying to pick up their game.
Yeah, this is a big drive for the unit right now. Let's get off the field. Let's limit the damage. Down 14-0. You want to be able to kind of slow the tempo down. You've taken some big shots from the Jaguars, and now what you want to do is be able to get out of this half only down 14-0.
And keep in mind, if they get the ball before the half is over, they have no timeouts. So this is a very big play for the unit defense. 3rd and 8 from the 46. They spread out.
Looks like the unit's going to be in cover 4 here, so they're going to be playing everything underneath.
Bailey awaits a shotgun snap, takes it, goes back under a rush, tries to escape, cannot. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, but I believe that might have been Olajuwon Bell.
Yes, sir.
Who was able to bring him down. I don't know if they're going to rule the sack or not, but the veteran defensive lineman comes through with a big play, and good job by the unit defense forcing a 3-and-out.
Olajuwon Bell has one job on this team, and that is pass rush. They don't ask him to do anything else. They don't expect him to play 1st or 2nd down. He is a 3rd down specialist at this point, and he does it very well. One of the best that I've ever seen or I've ever coached at the defensive end position. Former state champion wrestler from Newark, and he shows why he's one of those state champions. He uses his leverage whenever he does anything like that.
All right, so the Jags decide to punt here on 4th and 8. Not going to take any chances. The only thing they're doing now is running the clock, which, of course, remember, official time is kept on the field. There's no score clock, but they're going to decide and take a delay a game instead and back it up 5 more yards. So you could do either or, but I'm pretty sure they wanted to just take all the time off and take a 5-yard penalty. And, I mean, we're not sure how much time. It's got to be late in the first half, it'd be my guess. So all the Jags need to do is execute well on this special teams play. If they're able to do that, they probably will be going into the locker room with a 14-0 lead at the break.
The unit have 2 returners back there. You've got Kenny Prelude. You've got Kareem Stewart. Both of these guys have got top-level speed. Prelude doesn't take much to get to top level.
Well, there's a flag down, and it looks like Prelude will take it at the 25. He breaks one, gets to the 40, breaks another to midfield, to the 40. Look out. He's going to go to about the 30 and finally down to the 27. Now, here's the critical thing here. A flag was thrown immediately after the snap, and it turns out it's going to be offside against the unit, and if that's so, they get to kick it again. That is a major, major mental mistake on the part of the unit because that negates a huge return.
It's one of those neutral zone, infractions where you're lined up again, you're not coming after the ball. Let them kick it. Let our 2 return guys be special. These little tiny mistakes are what's going to cost teams championships. You've got to clean that up. And if I'm coaching either one of these teams, the Jags or the unit at halftime, the very first thing that I'm going to address is we cannot make these mistakes that are going to kill us. We have to sit here. Here you go. As far as what the unit coaching staff, and I had the pleasure and the honor of coaching with them last season. Raheem Wilson is a great offensive coach. He's going to get his guys together. The other guy that I coach with is Jameel Watkins. He's a defensive coordinator. The defense has played a really good job as far as that's concerned.
Uh-oh, look out. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there was a bad snap, and trying to get it around, he can't kick it. He's going to have to end up falling down at about the 38-yard line. That's where forward progress is going to be stopped. He refuses to go down, but they finally blow the whistle. So you talk about a big break by the unit. They just got it.
In reality, it only cost them, that penalty only cost them about 10 yards in field position because the prelude return before that was around the 25-yard line-ish. Now they're getting the ball at the 36. They've got to score here.
And not only that, Juan, I mean, you talk about big break, and we've mentioned only 10 yards difference in field position. I mean, in a way, is a net of 5 because with the offside and stuff. But in reality, that mistake, that could be the turning point for the unit to finally convert something. And keep in mind, with both teams averaging defensively, giving up like 3 points a game or less, well, obviously the unit did not succeed with that. Now they got to make sure the Jags do not succeed in giving up less than 3 points as if you're a unit player.
Most defenses here would play soft coverage, and they'll play it safe and keep everything underneath them. The Jags are different, and their attitude is different. I'll be more proponent to guess here that they're going to play tight man coverage. They're going to make the unit have to make plays.
And I'm sorry, the Jags used their second timeout at half. Go ahead, Juan.
The guys, I was saying, it just is the attitude that Coach Martinez has and their coaching staff has. I mean, you've got a coach in jeans and gloves on. If that doesn't tell you that he's not ready for business, nothing does. And all respect to those, I say it in jest, but all respect to that coaching staff. They do a hell of a job. But they are not going to sit there and play it safe. They are going to sit there and they are going to come at you. They're going to take some chances. They're going to make the unit have to make plays. Those defensive ends are going to start lining up a little bit wide with their ears pinned because they know that the longer the game goes, with the score the way it is, the less of a factor the unit run game becomes. So now these defensive ends can be like, okay, you know what? I can go get the quarterback now. All I got to do is play contain. Defensive tackles don't have to worry about playing gap responsibilities. They know that they can just go rush the quarterback.
And as long as it's a 2-score game or more, and I'll tell you what, if the Jags even somehow make it a 3-score game, that might take away the run game completely for the unit, wouldn't you think?
Again, it's one of those things where the unit has to establish their identity right now. There are certain things that the unit have not been able to do. They have not been able to establish a solid run game. They have not been able to establish a passing game of any kind of success. Rodriguez has had a couple of plays here and there. Other than that, the Jags have done a good job of neutralizing a very good offensive team in the unit.
All right, well, the unit has a chance to get some points on the board before the half ends. 1st and 10 from the 36 of the Jags as Juan Rodriguez facing adversity here. Of course, he's had a little bit of a tough first half. Of course, back-to-back sacks near the end of the first quarter to pretty much detonate a drive pretty much. Now let's see what he did with a 4-receiver set, tripling to right. Back to the left of Rodriguez in the shotgun.
The Jags are only sending 3. They have 8 in coverage. They're sending 1 hot here.
Well, they're coming after him, and Rodriguez, he's going to take a shot into double coverage, and he ends up throwing it complete and out of bounds to one of the officials. It was a good catch, except it is incomplete.
It's an interesting strategy that the Jags are doing here. They have 3 down defensive linemen as they're definite rushers, and then they're walking people up to the line of scrimmage to have the offensive line of the unit have to decide either he's going to be as a free blitzer or he's going to be dropping off in coverage. And what the Jags are also doing is they're playing 8 in coverage. So now they're forcing Rodriguez, who is not a runner, to have to sit here and try to pick apart an 8-man defensive secondary. It's going to be very difficult for them.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 36-yard line. And I'm wondering if Rodriguez just tried to throw the ball away. He was looking for an open man, but there was clearly double coverage there.
I think he was trying to get it to Stewart and just didn't have enough arm on it. And that's my personal opinion. He trusts his arm a lot. He's a gunslinger in every sense of the word.
He's going to need to do that here in an empty gun on 2nd and 10. A one-hop snap. Now he's going to go deep. He's going for Stewart, and he didn't come down with it incomplete. Good coverage on the part of Deontay Smith, who was able to knock it away as Stewart tried to come down with it, but it didn't quite work, and it forces an incompletion.
No,
I believe that's going to be the end of the first half.
I've been watching that combination of Stewart and Smith all game, and that's been one great battle. And Smith, that young man, has been doing a heck of a job on Stewart.
And I'll tell you, what are your thoughts on this first half on, obviously, and now a flag came down at the very end. I don't know what happened there, but your thoughts on the first half so far, which I believe it's the end of the half, although flags suddenly started coming down a moment ago. So that's probably going to be unsportsmanlike, possibly offsetting.
It's going to be unsportsmanlike on Stewart. One of the things about Stewart is he's a very emotional player. He's a type of kid who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he plays with emotion. Sometimes it could be your best feature or your worst feature. And right now, you can tell that the frustration from the unit is starting to show itself. First half, we've said exactly what was going to happen. They're going to fill each other out. They're two talented teams. This game is only 2 big plays away from being a 0-0 game at the half, and that's something that we need to understand. The Jaguars have not established a hardcore drive against the unit defensively. The unit have not been able to establish a drive against the Jags. We have a fumble recovery for a touchdown. We have a big play for a touchdown. That's been it. So if the unit can limit these mistakes and limit these errors, they can get themselves back into this game. But right now, the Jaguars are sitting pretty with a 14-0 lead and the momentum.
And I think, Juan, we're going to see what the unit are about, because considering the timeout called by the Jags that led to that big play that opened the scoring, I think the unit have got to be thrilled that halftime's here, because now they can use some time to regroup themselves. But I think we need to regroup as well. So we're at halftime here in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Your score, the Jersey Jaguars 14, the New Jersey unit nothing. We'll take a little break to refresh ourselves, and we'll be back for the second half in just a few minutes. Okay, we are back here at Hersey Stadium here on the campus of Bridgeton High School here in Bridgewater. I'm sorry, I said that's the northern part of the state. Bridgeton, New Jersey. I'll get it right.
Just burning bridges. Go ahead, Tom.
Not quite. But I'm Tom Wilkins along with Juan DePena and Howard Gaber taking care of the controls. Why don't we go ahead and show you the first half highlights of this 14-0 Jags halftime lead. And Juan, check in with this, first of all, the 79-yard touchdown to Nadir Smith, which you're about to see.
Right. Again, like we talked about earlier in the game, it was a man coverage by the unit. Nadir Smith on a linebacker. That's going to be a mismatch 95% of the time. Comes right across the middle on a like a lazy kind of a post. And upfield made a couple of moves, made a couple of guys miss. Off to the races, and that was the very first score for the Jersey Jaguars.
And don't forget there was a 2-point conversion with Deshaun Live where his uniform was torn and made it 8-0 at that point. And then came the second touchdown on defense, the hard hit and the recovery by Nasir Moore, who almost ran it back. But then Reese Goodwin cleaned up the rest.
Right on that play, it was a run by James Russo. Big hit there. He fumbled the ball off. Nasir Moore being heads-up player, scoops and scores. Big fella was moving. Ronald Butler with a great hustle play at the very end to strip the ball. And Reese Goodwin was in the right place at the right time to scoop and score that one for the touchdown. Made the score 14-0 after the failed 2-point conversion.
And that's all it's been here in the first half. The Jags have dominated the play, and with the 2 turnovers by the unit, the second one that you had just seen, which resulted in points, now the unit, we're going to talk to you, Juan, about what each team needs to do for the second half and for the unit. Play a completely different half of football and get themselves back in the game with as few mistakes as possible and no penalties.
I mean, the Jaguars right now have the 14-0 lead. They have to step their foot on the throat of the unit and put them away. For the unit, they have to realize that it's only a 14-0 lead. There are 2 big plays away from being back in this game again. And if there's an offense in this league that can put up points quickly and explosive points, it is the New Jersey unit. So, folks, stay tuned. This game is nowhere near over yet.
All right, here we go. Second half underway. It'll be a one-hopper taking it about the 7-yard line. It's going to be Butler. Let's see how much speed he can muster. Crossing the 30. He'll be slowed up at the 35. Still moving. He'll get to about the 40, and that's about it. So, nice return by Butler. They're going to say he's a little short of the 40, but first and 10 to 39 for the unit. They put him in good field position right now. It's a matter of advancing down the field. How do you combat this Jags defense, which has basically had a lot of speed through the first half from what we've seen?
One thing that the unit have been able to, 2 things that the unit's been able to do is the quick pass, get it into Kareem Stewart's hands, get it into Ronald Butler's hands. That's one of the things they've been able to do. The second thing they've been able to do is whenever they hand the ball off to Tyler Jab Thompson, off tackle, quick hitting plays, no dancing in the hole, those tough, aggressive yards, the unit are going to have to chip away and use all 30 minutes of the second half to get back into this game. Like I said before, you're not going to get back into this game with one play, a 14-point play. What they're going to have to do is methodically start wearing down this defense for the Jersey Jaguars.
And I think it all begins with winning a play and then winning a series of downs and then winning a drive and getting points on it. It's literally building blocks, and that's what the unit needs to kind of say, hey, listen, didn't work out that well for the first half. This is a whole new half. Let's refresh. We have some work to do. We can come back. We're down 14. That is not an insurmountable lead in any football league.
Absolutely not. And they've been here before. The first time that the New Jersey unit played the Central Jersey Knights, the Knights jumped out on a 14-0 lead on the unit, and the unit little by little chipped away, made some key plays, made some things go for them, and they eventually ended up winning that game 17-14 at the very last play of the game, where they recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown on a Joe Pisarcik type play where they should have just kneeled down, but that's neither here nor there. But they did enough. They did enough to stay in the game and keep it there. So this being down 14-0 is not something new to the unit. However, the Jags have never been down at any point in the season. This point, like 14-point lead like this.
All right, well, we'll see how the second half goes. We're just waiting for somebody from the chain gang to get set for the sticks. So now the ball is put into play, and we're back ready to go on 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. We'll see what Juan Rodriguez, who had a little bit of a difficult first half, looks to try and improve it. To go empty gun, they're going to go a diamond quad on the far side here. And he looked to try and throw right away, but then he lost his defender, and guess who comes in for the sack? Damaji Blair.
If I'm not mistaken, that's number 2 for Blair. And what they did was, it was real simple. They had the overhang to the weak side of the formation when they had the diamonds on the one side. No back in the backfield. No one accounted for him coming off the edge. That was like taking candy from a baby for Blair.
So Blair comes through, a big defensive play for him, and a 4-yard loss, making it 2nd and 14 from the 35-yard line. I'm expecting there's probably not going to be too much in the run department, but as far as passing is concerned, Rodriguez has to get the ball quicker and be a bit more decisive.
And I think that's something that the unit, if that's what they're going to decide to do, it's a humongous mistake for them. They've got to establish that run game. It keeps the Jaguars honest, especially now with number 48, Cameron Bergman, in at defensive end to cover for Dom Townsend, who looks like he may be out with an injury.
Here's Rodriguez back on 2nd down to Russian again. The pass is intercepted at the 45-yard line. Looks like he's going to bring it back to the 30, all the way down to the 18. He loses the football. It's picked up again by the unit. And it's Butler who gets the ball back at the 20-yard line. It was intercepted by Deontay Smith. He takes a hard hit inside the 20. There is the Butler scooping it up and resetting a possession for the unit. Even though they'll be 20 yards further back, they get a new set of downs on the trade-off of turnovers.
That's the type of plays right there that...
Oh, we got a flag down too. I'm sorry, Juan, but let's see what this is all about. Okay, they scooped him, so never mind.
You know, that was...
Why don't we look at a replay on that 1-2 fumble shot there? That technically was the 3rd turnover by the unit today. Rodriguez's interception. Tell me what happened on this play.
Okay, so Rodriguez drops back. You see that the Jags are in some type of a zone. At this point, Rodriguez reads something different than what was there. They showed the fake blitz, moving around. He saw Butler coming across the middle of the field. It was just a badly thrown ball behind him. And at that point, Smith takes the ball up the field. Big hit, scoop right there by Butler, and the unit have a second life. Those are the type of plays there where the Jags have to sit down, they try to do too much. Take over the ball, take it, and just sit on it. And now you've got ball deep in your zone.
A curious question on that play. We'll do it after this handoff, which there's a big hole. And running across the 35 to the 39-yard line, that's Kevin Pear for a 1st down, a gain of 17. You go back to the previous play, Juan. When Butler recovered the 2nd fumble, was he inbounds when the ball came out? Because I'm curious, because I thought he looked like he was out of bounds and came in.
You know what? I didn't notice. I looked like he might have been inbounds the entire time. But this previous play now that we just saw, this is what the unit needs to do, okay? Obviously, Townsend is not in the game, so that's a starter that's not into the game for the Jaguars. They've got to keep running the ball downfield on the Jags to keep them honest.
And here's that Pear guy again, and another fast haul going to about the 49. They might spot him right at the sticks, and all of a sudden, the unit have come to life. And you talk about a 3rd win. It looked like the 2nd one was taken out of them, but the big hit on the fumble recovery gave them a new lease on life, and now they're taking full advantage of it on 2 runs. This one for about 9.5.
Again, you have to play the matchup game. Right now, what the Jaguars were doing was sending their pass rushers and trying to make the unit have to sit there and quick throw. By doing that, you're exposing yourself to big runs up the middle because you're not as big up front as you normally would be. And that's what the unit needs to do. They have to make the Jags make adjustments. If the Jags decide they're going to play their type of football, they're going to beat anybody in this league. You have to make them adjust to what they do.
On 2nd and less than a yard, they triple the right side, 4 receivers set. Play fake on Pear. Here's a throw right up the middle. It's caught to the 35, down to about the 30 and to the 28.
And again, that play right there is based on the fact and the predicated that the unit, 2 straight plays, have been moving the ball down the field with the run. When you have that situation where you're all of a sudden running the ball very well, what's going to happen is that these linebackers have to play run first, and you can have slot receivers and other receivers play behind them and get wide open for those stores like that.
The ball be spotted at the 30-yard line after a 21-yard pass. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Rodriguez in the shotgun, and the play is blown dead. Somebody probably jumped. And now all of a sudden there's a little bit of life here on both sidelines. We'll see what the discussion is all about. Came from the near sideline, the penalty flag. We'll see what this is about. They may just wave it off completely. No, another sideline warning. And, yeah, the second time there's a sideline warning, they're at the penalty. So that's a 5-yarder, and it makes it 1st and 5. And all of a sudden, the Jags, from a disciplinary standpoint, coming a little bit unhinged.
Listen, and that's one of the things. It's those little things. Like, one of the things that we do with the Garden State Herd is we tell our players, if you look at the field at the lines here, the white belongs to the referee. That line right after that, that area between the white and the red is for the coaches. Players should be behind that red line. That way we don't get those type of penalties. And those are the little things right now that can add up as extra yardage.
1st and 5 in the 25-yard line, Rodriguez. And there's another handoff to Pear, and this time Pear doesn't get very much. He'll get to the 23-yard line for a 2-yard pickup. But right now, the unit showing signs of life and trying to cut this to a 1-score game.
Absolutely. The unit, again, they're doing what they're supposed to do now, okay? They're methodically moving the ball down the field. They're taking what the Jaguars give them. They're not trying to force anything. They're not trying to gimmick themselves back into this game. They're doing whatever the Jags are giving them, they're going to take it, okay? And one of the key players here for the Jags we got to take a look at is Talik Chambers, number 23. He's playing in the middle right now. Solid defender. He comes in and hits hard. He made that last play there on Kevin Pear.
And they're going to go 4-receiver set, tripling to right on 2nd and 3 from the 23-yard line. Back to the left of Rodriguez. Here they come. Here's a throw, and that is intercepted and then lateraled. And here come the Jags running it back to the 30, to 40, midfield. It's a pick 6. But there's a flag down at 33-yard line, so let's not go crazy on a pick 6 lateral yet. Running it in the end zone was Duron Maxwell, but let's see what the flag is at the 33-yard line.
The interception there, one-handed interception by Jonathan Inge, and he smartly tossed it over to Duron Maxwell, who has scored a second defensive touchdown. If this stands, it'll be his second defensive touchdown of the week of the playoffs. He scored last week against the Phantoms as well.
Well, we'll see what the discussion is, and that might be the backbreak. Now, there's also a penalty flag at the 40-yard line, so multiple infractions. I'm assuming one will be on the return. That's the one at the 40-yard line to return. And then there was another one at the 32-yard line, 30 yards away from the first penalty. So another lengthy discussion coming up. But I think the officials are just trying to make sure they have it put in the right spot. I would have to say the touchdown return will be nullified, but we'll see what the officials say. And now the officials, now the head referee was about to say something, and now walking back to the other side, trying to find out what's up with what the other judges say. Now, the Jags I guess they're arguing a couple of things, not sure exactly which, but I don't think it's going to be 20-0. That I can tell you. But Rodriguez, unfortunately for him, I mean, he came in as a very hot quarterback, and the Jags whoever the coordinator is for the Jags played a magnificent role in defending him well, because he's forced a couple of turnovers. An interception, and likely a second interception in a quarter. I think the penalties came after the interception, and
the Jaguars' offense right now is on the field, and so is the defense for the New Jersey unit. So obviously there will be a change in possession here.
And that's going to be the 4th turnover by the unit. Of course, the second in this quarter, Rodriguez interception. Have been 2 fumbles now, 2 interceptions. And what they've done is spot the ball at the 30-yard line So I guess the infraction happened during the return, and it may have been taunting before going into the end zone. But we're not going to speculate. But the officials right now have the ball spotted at the unit 30-yard line, completely on the other side of the field compared to what the unit were doing. The unit showed some life, but right there, the Jags, that athletic interception and lateral, that was tremendous. It will go down as an interception. That, like I said, fourth turnover by the unit. The Jags have only turned it over, I know once, because it counts as a turnover even after an interception, like earlier when Butler recovered the fumble to keep the unit alive on the field. But that's what they say. Usually penalties and turnovers are the biggest difference as to how a team wins.
Again, it's those little mistakes, and people wonder why coaches harp on these things. Why is coach so hard on me about this and ball security and jumping off sides? Because when the games get tight and the competition is even, those little things are the things that become a difference between winning and losing.
First and 10 to 30-yard line. Up, somebody jumped on, I'm not sure who. It's going to be a false start because it looked like the middle of the line jumped for the Jags. A couple of the unit people pointed like, no, he did it, and the officials agreed.
Well, listen, that's what defensive linemen do 101. The minute they jump off sides, just point at an offensive lineman. 9 out of 10 times you will get that call even if the offensive lineman never moved. You always have to be able to try to sell that thing sometimes.
You could also just stand completely still and there's a 40-mile-an-hour wind. All of a sudden, like part of your uniform's moving, they call you a 5-yard penalty and Mother Nature assisted on it.
Oh, yeah. I've had calls on me that I've to this day don't understand how I got them called, but it is what it is.
That's football, as somebody once said. First and 15 from the 35-yard line. Here's Bailey in a shotgun. He'll await the snap, take it back to pass. Let's see if he goes for the kill switch in double coverage. And it's knocked incomplete. That was almost intercepted.
Jason Harrison, number 6 for the unit. He's, I believe, one of the league leaders in interceptions with 6. Had a great read on that ball. Was coming over to the help on the other side there. Jump ball. Hubbard did a great job of making sure that 2 unit defenders that were there did not get to that ball. Allowed him to live another day.
And I agree with you, Juan. This would be the time to try and extend the score and get more points off the turnover, especially after you had points taken away on a penalty. And so they went for it right away. And now they're faced with a 2nd and 15. Bailey in the shotgun with a back to his left. They'll spread it. Let's see what they call this time here. They send a man motion. Looks like it's Smith in motion. Hillheim now tripling the right side. They're going to throw a screen pass, and not well executed there as Gibson, he came out from his running back stance, and the throw was just off target. Gibson couldn't get there, and it forces 3rd and 15.
One of the things on that last play that the Jaguars were doing is they motioned Smith. So what they're trying to see is what kind of coverage the New Jersey unit are in. So now when they motioned him over, they realized that he's going to be played one-on-one with a linebacker. The linebacker in this situation was number 3, Al-Rashid Benton. They call him Juice. Benton was a defensive captain for the West Virginia Mountaineers of the Big 12. So he is a very, very experienced linebacker. I don't know if he can play one-on-one against Smith, but that was the thing that they were trying to go for there.
3rd and 15 from the 35. Here's Bailey back to pass, has some time, big rush on the blind side, double coverage, and thrown into the hands at the 6-yard line. I believe intercepted by Perry Mims, who was waiting right there. He falls out of bounds, and even though the unit will be starting deep in their own territory, they stop a score from happening. And I'll tell you what, if it weren't for that penalty, it'd be a 3-score game. But the Jags and the lack of discipline in some cases have kept the unit in this game.
Raheem Wilson spoke about Perry Mims to me this week. He said he's going to need Perry to have a big game for the unit to have a chance to win. And right there, it was a lollipop. He was able to come down with it. The unit defense made a great stand here after they could have potentially folded here. Now the offense has to come back, and they're deep in their own territory. They have the ball on their own 6. They've got to come out here, and they've got to do something. They're running out of opportunities and out of time to let the game try to come to them. They've got to start now dictating the pace. What I would do here is I would try to establish the run game like they did before. Okay, get maybe a couple of first downs here on the run. Try to get the ball out to maybe the 35 to the 40-yard line, and then let's see how the Jags react to that, and maybe take advantage of a deep play downfield with either Butler or with Kareem Stewart.
And Rodriguez has to be on point. He's had a very rough third quarter with 2 interceptions. As you may have seen on the board, only throwing for 82 yards on the evening. And Bailey has only thrown for 79, but that was one pass. And that was that touchdown to Nadir Smith back in the second quarter.
I mean, both of these guys are MVP finalists, and they've just it's just to show you the defenses that they're playing against, in the Jags defense and the Unis defense, that two guys who are MVP candidates are having very tough games.
Well, there's a stick issue, and that's why we're having a slight delay here. But right now, with the Jaguars leading the unit 14-0, Juan, I definitely agree with you. Go back to what has worked for you. You don't want to try and get a 94-yard touchdown on one play, because especially I see what's going on. There's nobody there for the sticks. I'm not exactly sure why that was the case. But as far as the unit goes, they have a little bit more time because of the delay to go ahead and try and get their plays together. And they'd have to go like maybe 1-2 at a time, especially if they want to try and go up tempo.
I mean, that's not a bad idea, going no huddle. Let's get a couple of plays here that we know. Let's see what we have here as far as what kind of plays we have. Call 2 or 3 in a row. Let's stick with our bread and butter. And we've got to take the timing away from the Jags. The Jags are a deep team when it comes to defensive linemen, especially those big guys up front. You want to keep them in the game and wear them out. That's how you wear out a defense, is by keeping those big guys in the game. If they can rotate those big defensive tackles, that offensive run game for the unit is not going to be there. So they've got to start wearing this defense out.
Well, you've been mentioning Dominic Townsend. He's standing along the near sideline to the right, so there's a chance he might come back in before this is over, but we'll see. Rodriguez 1st and 10 from his own 6-yard line. They're going to go with a handoff, and there was a hole that closed quick, and it gets about the 10-yard line. That was James Rousseau at the running back position. But now you're getting a few at a time, but you may want to try and just quicken the pace a little bit, wouldn't you think?
The unit right now have done something that I just realized that they did. And the starting quarterback for last week's game against the Central Jersey Knights was Damian Thomas, number 10. Damian Thomas is now in for Juan Rodriguez. Not sure if they're trying to do something different as far as patches are concerned, or if they're just completely pulling the plug on Rodriguez. Thomas has a decent arm. However, he is much more athletic, and he's more of a threat to run the ball out of the backfield. So they may be doing some kind of read option kind of packages here. Changing
the pace, as you would say. So good eyes there, Juan. So is Damian Thomas a quarterback here on 2nd and 6? He's got some time to throw. And, pass incomplete. And that was almost right on target for the intended receiver. Just couldn't hang on about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that was a drop there by Donnell Williams, number 9.
Oh, that's a veteran receiver right there.
That's if you've called these games long enough, Tom, you remember him from his Longhorn days. That's a play that he 99 out of 100 times makes.
It just seems like something's been a little bit off for the unit today. Kareem Stewart having a tough day, and Williams just not being able to bring it down. I mean, everyone's got to come together and try and find some way to do this. This is a huge 3rd and 6 from the 10-yard line. So let's see what Damian Thomas does in the shotgun. They spread. Takes a snap. He does have time. Now he's being rushed to the right. He'll lob it. And a pass is caught, and it worked for a first down. Dropping out of bounds at about the 16, 17-yard line. And that was Stewart.
It's great throw, great catch by those two guys. And that's what he's got to do, is extend the pocket. The one thing that the Jags were doing before was they were collapsing that pocket and making an immobile quarterback have to run around. Now the Jags are going to have to deal with the fact that they've got a quarterback there who can outrun their defensive ends, and it changes the pace of how the Jags now have to defend.
And given the fact they've had a couple of injuries, and we mentioned just a little while ago with Dom Townsend, I'll be curious to see if he gets back in at some point. That could be another factor there, too.
He's actually in the game now at the right defensive end, and I'm glad to see that. Was hoping there wasn't a serious injury earlier in the game.
Definitely good news. 1st and 10 for the 16, and speaking of which, he nearly came up with a sack, but it looks like Thomas will get back to maybe the 15-yard line, so it is going to be a sack, a 1-yard loss. But Townsend was able to put the pressure in, and And I believe we have reached 3/4 time, so the Jags are only 1/4 away from becoming NEAFL champions for 2022. 14-0, the Jaguars lead the unit, and right now, the unit, they're at their 15, second and 11, starting the final quarter. This is where you go fast.
You've got to go hyper at this point. You've got to come up with 2 touchdowns against a stout defense, and you're now using your backup quarterback to do so. The good thing for the unit is that they have loaded weapons, okay? They've got Ronald Butler. They've got Kareem Stewart. They've got a couple of other young guys there that we haven't heard their name much today. Shafi Harris had 1 catch. Kenny Prelude at the receiver position. Big tight end John Burton haven't been heard much of. Number 19, John Marset. A lot of these young receivers and talented guys have just not been able to get themselves going today. For the unit, and that's a credit to the defense of the Jaguars, their secondary, defensive line, defensive ends. The unit at this point now, they have to be in overdrive.
On both teams' part, Juan, do you think it's more personality or is it more scheme that is dictating all this?
I think it's schematic. Both teams have come to play. The intensity is there. Personalities are there. I just think that the Jaguars are forcing the unit to have to play a style they don't want to play. Okay, they want to be able to sit there and get the ball to their playmakers. They're taking the ball away from their playmakers. Stewart has maybe 2 or 3 catches. Butler has 1 catch. The biggest play that Ronald Butler has made today was that fumble recovery after the strip of Deontay Smith. You have got to get these guys in the game. They've got to find a way to get the ball to them.
And we'll see what happens as we begin the final quarter. Here's Thomas on 2nd and 11 has time. He may take off. He's going to throw a pass caught to 20. Spin move out of bounds. It's Butler this time, and they're going to spot the 23. So a gain of 8. So at least they got most of the yardage. So it's 3rd and 3, and that's a good spot for the unit, but they just got to make sure they get moving.
They've got to move with a little bit more urgency right now. It's got to be these pass plays that the unit run have got to be 1, 2, 3 go plays. What that means is where 1, 2, 3, let the ball go. 1, 2, 3, let the ball go. These long, drawn out combo type routes that the unit is running right now is taking way too much time and exposing themselves to possible fumbles or interceptions.
Thomas in the shotgun on 3rd and 3 from the 23. They're going to go inside handoff. And, oh, what a hard hit. Just shot. We may have gotten a first down. We'll see. And the big hit delivered by, I believe that was Shea Davis. But despite the hard hit, it was enough for a first down, and it moves the chains for the unit. They got a little break there.
Absolutely. They've got every play has got to be a positive play at this point. They cannot afford negative plays. They cannot afford negative running plays. They cannot afford sacks. That offensive line has got to bow up right now, and they've got to protect Damian Thomas as if he was a newborn child, so he has time to do what he's got to do in that backfield.
On spread, 1st and 10. There's a play fake, and the pass caught, and going to about the 30. Still going, pushing to the 37. Might be Butler again. Another 11 yards, and
Absolutely.
The unit are starting to focus a drive here.
That's one of those 1, 2, 3 goes, like I said before. Let's get the ball out, but they've got to now from here, they've got to pick up the pace. It's not we're going to just do this and then we're going to huddle. It's let's go from the line of scrimmage. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
So already Thomas 3 or 4 for 25 yards since replacing Rodriguez. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. We'll see what Thomas does this time on the spread and back to the left. Oh, and another sideline warning against the coaches on the field. That's going to be another penalty against the Jags. Wow. And that's just so another break as far as the unit go. And we'll see where they spot it.
And that's a big one there. That's a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty conduct. That's almost like a completed pass without having to run the pass. So now that pass that we had to Ronald Butler, which was a little short one there for 10 yards, now it just became a 25-yard pass play.
You are absolutely correct. Remember, the first time is a warning. The second time it's 5 yards. It's major penalties for each subsequent offense.
Again, and that's why, like I said to you before, with the herd, that white belongs just to the referee. No one is on that part of the field except for the ref.
Here's Thomas. Going to take a shot down the field. He's got Butler, who came down with it. Inside the 20 to the 14, maybe the 13-yard line. A 35-yard pickup and another first down as the unit come up with a big play. And, Juan, you called it. They needed to come through one, and they got it.
And listen, if you're going to go to somebody, that's the guy to go to, Ronald Butler. He is an unmatched talent in this league. Okay, 6 foot, 200 and maybe 5 pounds, in shape. The guy can run 4.5 legitimately, has great hands, super strong. If you're going to put the ball in someone's hands, that's the one you've got to go with.
And that is huge for the unit as they are in the red zone. And I think this is the first time today they're in the red zone.
That's correct. This is the most productive drive that they've had all day.
But can they finish it? That's the biggie.
They have to finish it.
4 receivers set, tripling the near side. 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. Thomas takes a snap, a good one, looking. They're rushing. And he's going to have to lob one to no man's land, incomplete. I think he finally realized he was out of the pocket. He's like, I'll just throw it out and we'll just try it on 2nd and 10.
That's a smart play by Damian Thomas. One of the things that he does is he doesn't force the ball much. There are times where he gets maybe a little bit loose when he runs the ball, maybe leaves it out there too much, maybe does things with the ball in his hand that he shouldn't. But one thing he doesn't do, he doesn't get crazy trying to throw the ball all over the place. If he doesn't see that it's there, he threw it to that side of the field. There was no one over there who's going to be able to get that. Let's live to play another down.
And that's what they're doing, 2nd and 10 from the 13-yard line. And all right, so let's see what they do here. They switch to triple along the far side, and the 4 receivers set back still to the left. Thomas on 2nd and 10 takes it. Has time this time. Oh, there's going to be a flag for holding. And he's going to get hit right back at the line of scrimmage. There was nobody there, but then when the flag came in, boy, that's a killer penalty for the unit.
Right, in the middle of the field right there. Now they have offensive linemen now playing some defense as well. Antonio Rodriguez, number 50, he collapsed that pocket well. Not exactly sure if that's where the hold was called, but he definitely did a good job there of collapsing that pocket and creating the pressure.
As a big penalty against the unit, so that 10-yarder, that's going to make it 2nd and 20, and they're going to spot it probably about the 23, depending on where the officials decide to spot where the infraction was.
Right now, the unit it's a 2nd down, 2nd and 10. The unit have to. The unit right now. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that they moved the sticks. 3rd and 20, 2nd and 20. Correction. The unit right now have to start looking for plays that are going to put them chunk plays. They out of time now where they cannot sit here and just nickel and dime them. They've got to get the ball downfield and preferably into the end zone, because now they've got to turn around and play defense and stop this offense.
And this is where you get Stewart and Butler, too, as your 2 main targets here. 2nd and 20 from the 23. We'll see what Thomas does. He's under a rush. He's going to scroll to his left. Let's see. There's another flag. Pass is caught at the 10-yard line. And this could be another hold against the unit.
It looks like it might be a hold against number 55, Ernest Graham, the right tackle, on Reese Goodwin. Again, Reese Goodwin is going to be a handful when it comes to a pass rush one-on-one. These are the type of guys that they need backside help. Keep a back in, keep a tight end in. But this is what these speed defensive ends are doing. And it's starting to become a trend in minor league football where now teams are starting to go with quicker, shiftier defensive ends who can get to the quarterback and pass rush as opposed to those big burly guys who can play the run.
So that forces another 10-yard penalty and back-to-back holds. And here we go again. It's 2nd and 30 from the 33-yard line. Now keep in mind, the unit started at their own 6-yard line. And they've been able to get pieces of yardage here and there. And then, of course, that 35-yard pass play to Butler. Now you have 2nd and 30, and you kind of want to try and cut the field almost in half and set up for a 3rd and somewhat manageable. You get two cracks at it.
Absolutely. And we have the unit coaching staff, Raheem Wilson, half the coaching staff, and maybe the team president out on the field trying to get an understanding of what call is going on right now.
I thought for a second, I was about to ask you, was there a timeout called after that? We didn't even see anything official. So they're just trying to find the spot, which is the 33-yard line. They got a long way to go to get the goal to go. I think the one thing they have to hope for in a situation like this is a defensive holding penalty.
I mean, listen, that's one of those things there where it's one of those gifts. Jump ball in the end zone, defensive pass interference, put the ball at the 1, and then we can just pound it in. But if that's where we're at right now, then you've got an issue. The Damian Thomas in this drive has done a good job of getting the ball downfield. Raheem Wilson has done a great job of play calling this series, but these penalties are starting to kill them. And now I see there's an additional penalty on there. I'm not exactly sure if that's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
No, there's just the one penalty from what we saw. So it's going back to 2nd and 30. Back-to-back holding penalties have the unit in this position. Ball at the 33 of the Jags. Thomas in the shotgun. Let's see what happens here. He'll take the snap. He'll have a little time. They'll go with a screen route, and the pass is incomplete. The receiver thought he had it, and now a flag comes out at the end of the play, but he ended up not establishing possession. The ball was intended for Sean Stroud, and he ended up losing the football. And the Jags ended up recovering, but the whistle had already blown it dead as incomplete. And after the play, and there's a unit player on the far side that's shaken up. Oh, my goodness. Unsportsmanlike conduct foul against the Jags for participation after the ball was dead.
They're just giving the unit life right now, and those are the type of plays where you've got to be disciplined. You've got to understand what is at stake here. You are playing for the NEAFL Championship game. You're playing for that championship trophy, that championship ring. At some point, you've got to let discipline take over. All the celebrating, you've got months to celebrate and talk your trash and do your bragging. But right now is the time where you've got to be laser locked focused. And that's something that as a coaching staff, you've got to kind of reel your guys in. Hey, you want them to play with emotion and you want them to play with passion, but you also want them to play with some type of a discipline. If the unit end up scoring, now it was a 3rd and Hoboken at this point. It took you need 2 transfers and an easy pass to get to the first down where they were. But now all of a sudden, now you've got a first down.
You went from second, pretty much, Juan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you went from 2nd and 30 to, could this be a potential automatic first down because of the unsportsmanlike conduct?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is an automatic first down.
We'll see where they move the chains. Because it was the down counted because it was incomplete and a flag came well after that. Well, they moved it back into the red zone, the 18-yard line. The only other question is it going to be, are they going to repeat the down? Or are they going to make it 3rd and 15? Or do the 6 have to be put back and be a new set of downs? If it is a new set of downs, then what a horrible job by the Jags. Oh, they're repeating the down. So it happened during the play. It was a late flag, so it's 2nd and 15. Or is it 3rd and 15? They changed the down marker. Anyway, Thomas with the snap. He's looking. Oh, he's going to take off. A spin move and takes a smashing hit at about the 13, right back at the original line of scrimmage, which was about 5 minutes ago. But now forces a 4th and 10.
Once again, that was Talik Chambers. He's been playing lights out all game today.
And there's a shaken up Jag on the field.
And I believe that's Chambers that he's down right now. Again, that'll be a loss for the Jags if he cannot get back up. He's had a great day in the middle of that Jags defense. He's made a couple of big hits. However, right here is, I believe, is a 4th down. And
yeah, I guess they're going to go with the 4th and 10 from the 13-yard line after the 5-yard rush by Thomas. So while they're tending to the injury, you're the unit. You're down 14-0, season on the line. What's your call?
Ooh. Oh, wow. No pressure at all. Just
He's under more pressure.
No,
than
just everything. Let's ask the defensive coach what will he run on offense. If I'm the Jaguars here, I'm protecting the sticks. Honestly, what I would do is I would play a cover 3 and play soft underneath with my 4 under guys. Let the unit have to beat us up over the top. They're going to have to find that zone between my 2 deep corners and my deep safety and my 4 linebackers. And especially with the way my defensive line has been playing, I don't have to bring any additional pressure. Those guys have been doing a great job of bringing pressure all game. So what I would do is I would make Damian Thomas have to make the perfect throw, okay, with a defensive line who's bringing serious pressure. I like my chances with this defensive personnel that I would have with the Jags of making Damian have to make the play to beat me. So that's what I would do. Offensively, I would probably run triple option. I don't know.
Well, one never knows, but I'm sure Raheem Wilson's going to try and come up with something here. 4th and 10 from the 13-yard line. You got one shot. And online, believe it or not, the YouTube people watching here on HSG Network, they're agreeing with you, Juan, with the skinny post idea.
One play that I would see possibly here is maybe a jet screen or a jet sweep to Butler.
A little hard. Well, they got the sound man in motion because they got empty gun and heavy left here on 4th and 10. And now the whole entire left side of the receiving corps jumps. And that's another 5-yard penalty. So that certainly did not help.
And their defense, though, they all jumped together. So it's not like it was one guy. I'm assuming if that's the way that looked, I would assume it might have been a snap count from the center. The center didn't get the snap count out the right way. But, again, they're shooting themselves in the foot once again.
So now it'll be 4th, and it looks like 14 as the ball be at the 17-yard line. So they're going to need something big here. Again, they go empty gun. And they have to get to the 3. That's the line of gain to get 1st and goal. Let's see what Thomas does. He takes the snap. They're coming. Looking, and he's hit, and the ball in the air is taken by the Jaguars and returned all the way down with a helmet. I thought it was a football for a second. Knocked it about the 39-yard line.
Once again, Reese Goodwin, he's been a difference maker today on this defense for the Jersey Jaguars. I believe that is his 3rd stack. And then you have Day Perry, the defensive tackle, with the scoop. Well, these defensive tackles are scooping and scoring for today for the scooping for the Jaguars. That's now 5 turnovers.
Why don't we take a look at the replay? That was a hard hit, and the ball never hit the ground. Just went right into Day's mitts here, as you will see.
So you see Reese is there. He's lined up against number 55, Ernest Graham. He beats Ernest with a good inside move, had him reaching, and then as you teach every defensive lineman, you come across that throwing arm and balls popped up in the air. Great job by Perry to be in the right place at the right time to scoop that up and advance it.
What a tremendous job by the Jags defense. They forced 5 turnovers by the unit. That's usually good enough to win. And when you're up 14-0, now you can work on clock, even though both teams still have all 3 of their timeouts. The ball never hit the ground, so if the arm was moving forward, that could be an interception, and that would be the 3rd of the half. But nonetheless, that's the 5th turnover of the game for the unit, and the umpteenth penalty flag just now thrown, as we're going to see what this is going to be about. Maybe a delay of game. So that's a 5-yard penalty. So even though Bailey's only completed 1 pass, and that was the biggie to Nadir Smith in the 2nd quarter for that 79-yard touchdown, the stars of this game have been the Jaguar defense.
Absolutely. That Jaguar defense, that Jaguar defensive line, those guys have been responsible for almost every big play that the Jaguars have done today, and one way or another. You can't take credit away from them.
And now Bailey's going to keep the ball himself, get to about the 35 for a 1-yard pickup. But at this point, it's melting the clock. Remember, official time kept on the field. 2nd and 14 from the 35-yard line. And I would have to say do your runs that are working the best against this interior line for the unit.
Listen, right now, if I'm the Jaguars, what I'm doing is I am stripping my playbook down to the most boring element that you have, the most simplest things. A women's crochet class would be more exciting than the offense that I would run right now. It would be just straight dive plays, run plays, make the unit have to burn timeouts, and just use the clock to my advantage now.
Well, they go split backs here, and here's another handoff. Containment, though, by the unit, very good as it forces a 3-yard loss back at the 32-yard line. So, in essence, you're talking the 2000 NFC Championship game. Giants had the ball for the last 11 and a half minutes and milked the clock to win 41-0.
Absolutely. And right now you're starting to see the emotions on both sides. You see that the Jags are starting to be a little bit in celebratory mode, and you see that the unit is starting to be a little bit frustrated.
Well, it's not over yet because stranger things happen in football. Whether there's a bad exchange and then the unit return for a touchdown to one-score game, and the Jags are like, uh-oh, now we got to get back in our minds and get to playing football again. That's why you don't jump the gun so fast.
Absolutely. The unit right here, they have to get off. This defense has to get off the field right now.
Well, they have a good chance, but they have to stop 3rd and 18 from the 31-yard line. Let's see what Bailey does between split backs and whistles blow again. Did somebody call it? Nope, another delay of game. So I think the Jags are more content to take all the delay of game penalties they want to melt as many seconds off the clock as possible.
Yeah, but the whole thing is this. If you're going to do that, you want to keep getting first downs. Okay, the more first downs you get, the more you hold on to the ball. You don't want to have to give the ball back to the unit, So if you're running the ball, getting 3 or 4 yards of pop, you don't have to worry about all that. This is just now we've got to play a little bit more discipline. And I know it's hard when you're trying to win a championship and you feel it's right there to not lose yourself, but you remember you got to finish the fight. Once the fight is over, then you can celebrate.
Faith, fight, and finish. That's what it is. They've gotten to 2. Now they got to get to the 3rd one. Here's Bailey on 3rd and 23, taking the snap. A little bit of a rush. They're going to go deep down the field, and it is incomplete, a little bit high. That was intended for Maurice Hubbard, but he couldn't come down with it, and it ends up being 4th down. But more importantly for the unit, it stops the clock, and the Jags will be able to punt.
Absolutely. And now the unit right here, again, we've been saying this for a little bit now, but they've got to make something happen on offense. They had a great drive, the last drive. It started at the 6-yard line.
Oh, we didn't see any flags down, but oh, wow, we got a throwback from the receiver. That's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So I see what happened. There was an unsportsmanlike where after the incompletion, offensive receiver ended up throwing the ball at somebody. So that's going to be another 15-yard penalty, but that's going to be a deeper punt. And remember, they had a bad snap on a punt earlier, so if it happens again, all of a sudden the units potentially could get points off of this.
Listen, and this is not new territory for the unit. They played 2 games against the Knights this year where the Knights had the game pretty much wrapped up and done, and somehow the football gods blessed the New Jersey unit and gave them 2 wins. Again, they earned it. They did what they had to do to keep themselves in the game, but now here we are with the ball on the 18-yard line, the 13-yard line for the Jags. A fumbled snap here, a snap over the head, and the unit land on it. All of a sudden, we got a brand-new ball game.
Very much so, and somebody had to have called a timeout. Not sure who because there was no signal. But as we mentioned, Juan, remember that Jags head coach Zoe Martinez called that timeout right before the 79-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter. I wonder if he's calling it to try and sell the players down, say, hey, wait a minute. We still have a little time left in this game to finish up. We cannot let our guard down 1 second.
Again, that's what you do as a coach. It's a fine line that you have to measure when it comes to being a coach. When you let your guys be excitable and let them be passionate and let them play with that emotion, but you got to learn when, hey, okay, these emotions are starting to get away from us, and we've got to kind of calm it down a little bit. And again, it's hard because you can see it, you can feel it, you can you can visualize that championship ring on your finger already at this point of the game, but you've got to kind of calm it down and realize we've got a little bit more work to do. We can't let it go.
They do get a good snap. Oh, a very low punt, but taking it at the 32-yard line. Got through one tackle. He might turn the corner. Oh, he gets a hard hit down to 23-yard line. So, if anything, the unit have excellent field position, and they are in striking distance in just one play. As there's a 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. So the unit, at least they got a victory out of that 3-and-out drive. But now, for Thomas, they're going to need to get something and something fast.
What I would suggest here with the unit is if they have any plays that they haven't run yet, that no one has seen so far this year, this may be the time to pull it out there. One thing that I will bring up is that Ronald Butler, number 6, he was an all-state quarterback. So don't think that if they give him something on a sweep, there may not be a second pass there. Damian Thomas is still in the game. Let's see what they've got in this spread formation.
Well, they have Ronald Butler lined up slot left here. So 1st and 10 in a spread from the 23. And now they go with a handoff blast inside the 20, inside the 10, fighting to the 5 and getting to about the 4-yard line. That's a 17-yard gain.
That is what Jab Thompson is known for. You give him the ball, he puts his head down, and he keeps going. Because of the pace of this game, we haven't been able to call his name much today. But he is a key weapon, and if this is what they're going to do, don't be surprised if he gets the ball one more time here on the 6-yard line.
Well, it's 1st and goal. They spot the 6. Jab Thompson with a 17-yard pickup the last time. Let's see the quick count because time's a wasting here. Thomas about to get the shotgun snap. Gets, you called it, to the 5, and that's as far as he gets. So that time the Jags were all ready for that one. Now you got to try and come up with something creative, but you got to do it quick.
I mean, listen, right now the ball is at the 5. You've got your big heavy hitter thumper running back in. The Jags have to respect the fact that he's there. So they can't sit there and just play off. They've got to play it tight. Because of that, I would look for maybe a slant, a double slant on the backside, a drag underneath with 31, the tight end who hasn't been targeted at all today.
Well, we'll see what happens. Play fake here, and they throw it. It is caught. Welcome to the end zone. The unit finally gets on the board.
That's Kareem Stewart on the slant.
Yep, and Kareem Stewart tried to do a finger roll. Didn't work, but who cares? It's still now a one-possession game. Now the question is, do you go for 2 or you try the extra point?
You've got to get the extra point here. Makes him a 14-7 game. That way, if you can maybe score again and another extra point, we've got ourselves a tie game.
So then this is why you don't jump too quickly because this can happen.
And again, the Jaguars made it real easy.
Oh, they don't have their kicker out, so they're going to go for 2. Now, if they make the 2, that is going to be huge. Because then a touchdown ties in, a conversion can win it. So let's see how the unit line up here. So Damian Thomas gets credit with the touchdown. 65 yards passing so far. That was a 5-yard touchdown, a reception to Stewart. Here's Thomas back. He's being chased. He's going to be thrown down and hard at the uniform in the 17-yard line. So the conversion fails, but the unit did what they needed to, and that's make it a one-score game and make it 14-6. So now if they score again, they must go for 2 to level the score. So why don't we take a look at a replay of a Stewart's touchdown cast? I'd say redemption for what has been a pretty rough game for him.
Absolutely. So basically what we have here with the unit, okay, they've got the threat of Jab Thompson inside. You see how the Jags are playing this true inside, making sure they don't have to give up the easy run. The little play action, they use Butler on the out, Stewart on the slant, touchdown.
And subsequent finger roll. So it's 14-6. We're not done yet. Again, official time's kept on the field, but I'd have to say maybe 5 minutes left, but we can't necessarily speculate. The officials know better than we do. So put it this way, Thomas came in, has given the unit a spark after Rodriguez had a couple of nice throws, but 4 of 12 for 82 yards and 2 interceptions, especially in the third quarter, caused Wilson to make that quarterback switch, and Thomas has lit a fire under the unit.
Of the 3 quarterbacks today, he's actually played the best. 5 of 8 for 65 yards, touchdown and interception. With everything that's been going on today and how well the Jaguars have played, Jaquil Bailey has 1 completion, but it was a huge one, 79 yards to Nadir Smith. And Juan Rodriguez had a tough day today as well. He had the 2 interceptions. So, again, the defenses have been playing well. The quarterbacks have been struggling, and it's a testament of how well these defenses have been.
Yeah, I actually saw a drone go flying above the midfield stripe just a short time ago. But we'll see how the unit described. Do they kick this off or they try to go onside?
It's gutsy if you try to go onside here. I personally would kick it deep and just trust my defense. Let my defense, try to help me out one more time. The defense has been playing lights out all year. You got to lean on them.
And you've got all 3 timeouts, unless you used one earlier after all the chaos that happened in the last Jags drive.
Let's assume we've got about 5 minutes left in this game. You've got plenty of time for a stop, and then without having to use your timeouts.
And there's only been 1 completion, as you had mentioned today, for the Jags, so that's all they've done offensively.
Yeah, offensively, it hasn't been anything special for the Jaguars today, and that's a credit to the unit defense. That's a very, very good offensive unit that the unit have pretty much nullified all game with the exception of 1 big play.
Okay, so we're going to try the kickoff here. We'll see what the unit decides to do. They will kick it off. Oh, and they're offside on the kickoff, so we'll have to do it again. So we'll back it up to the 30-yard line following the 5-yard penalty. I think you can't jump until after the kickoff.
That's correct. You've got to let the ball get kicked off first.
All these little nuances that we keep forgetting that's been going on for now a couple of years to accentuate the special teams game. That's the whole reason why these rules are in place.
That also in the fact of the violence that a kickoff is, just to negate some of the injuries and promote more safety for the players. The old school guys really aren't up for that, but us newer guys think that's a great idea to make sure that the players are all safe.
Just minor changes. I will try the kickoff again from the 30-yard line. It's a live ball after 10 yards. Taking it about the 26-yard line. Oh, there was a hard block to the 30-yard line, but that is it. And the returner gets about 4 on the play. So this is the story. The Jags have 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line, and this is not over yet. If the unit make a stop, they have a chance.
Right.
And the turnover. Let's not forget about the turnover thing.
Right. So the Jags here, what they've got to do 2 things. The first thing that they have to do is paramount, which is ball security. So anything that they run for the next couple of minutes, it has to be a play where we're not doing any tricky ball handling, straight handoffs, no double pitches, nothing like that. Let's make sure that we have our hands. Once the guy's got the ball in his hands, he's got to make sure he's covering it up. I don't care how ugly it looks, cover up that ball. Make sure that you have that ball secured. That's the first thing that they have to do. Second thing that they have to do is they've got to have the mindset of we have to get first downs. Once they start getting first downs, it makes things a little bit easier for them, and they can start visualizing that championship dream that they've been thinking of.
Bailey in his shotgun, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. As expected, a run. Haven't called Gibson's name in a while, but he does not get much. He may have lost half a yard on the play.
Absolutely. And again, the unit did a great job of stacking that up. Their defensive tackles neutralized the offensive line for the Jaguars, and then those linebackers came in and cleaned up. Benton, Moore, those 2 middle linebackers, actually brothers, did a great job there.
So it's a loss of 1, and it's 2nd and 11 for the 29-yard line. And right now, Zoe Martinez got to try and find something to break the unit defense, and playing conservative probably is not the answer at this point because the unit had been all over that. In the shotgun is Bailey. He's going to try and run it himself. Oh, they're coming for him, and he loses 3 more to the 26. And once again, and now a late flag on the play. Let's see what happens here. I believe that was Olajuwon Bell who made the tackle, but then a late flag comes in, possibly an unsportsmanlike. If that is a killer penalty against the unit.
It was Maurice Hubbard and DeAndre Hull were mixing it up. I saw a couple of hands flying over there. I'm not exactly sure who the referees got, but you know they always say the second guy always gets hit.
That is correct.
Offsetting personal foul.
Oh, no, they're going to call a personal foul against the Jags. And that's half the distance. And the down counts because it happened after the play.
Unbelievable.
The Jags have just completely collapsed. They were on the verge of victory, and then everything fell apart. Go back to that thump, that interception lateral for a touchdown that got called back for some unexplained reason. It would have been a 20-0 game. Instead, this is where we are right now.
I mean, listen, win or lose, any coach watching this is sitting there with a smile on their face talking about, you see, this is the reason why. This is the reason why we start, barking and complaining about discipline and letting it go and not this and that, whatever. Right now, this is what's going on right now. The fact is that the Jaguars had this game well in hand, and now they've given the unit a little bit of life. And if you've been watching the NAFL this year, you know that you do not give the New Jersey unit any kind of life in the fourth quarter because somehow or some way miracles happen and they find a way to get that done.
And I think the unit might have called a timeout here. So, but why don't we go ahead and hit a few comments while we have a moment. This turned out to be a very entertaining game. And I want to thank all of you for checking in here on HSG Network, the NEAFL Championship game here from Bridgeton, deep in South Jersey, Cumberland County. We have one saying, unit should be getting ready for a strong punt return. Let's get there first. And if that was Dexter who checked in, now we just see the logo there. So it's very possible it could happen. Marcus Cowan checking in, calling for let's go unit. And they still have a chance in this game. I mean, they have not given up, and that's what championship teams do. They don't give up. You play the full 60 minutes, and whatever happens, but you got to put your time in. This is interesting. Fizz, you see him from Grant Graham.
I'm telling you, I can sit here and watch just Tom reading comments all day.
Well, I haven't been doing too well today. I might need some.
That's the YouTube challenge right now. I want you guys to start putting in the comments stuff that Tom can say.
Well, yeah, you might need laser eye surgery after this. On 3rd and long, Bailey's going to go down for a sack at the 11-yard line.
Once again, it's those quick edge rushers that the unit have. That's little Mike Rodriguez. He's in for the play. So was Olajuwon Bell. Now the Jaguars are in a very precarious position. They are 4th and forever on their own 12-yard line.
This is not good. Let's put it that way. Or as I would put it, the plot thickens. Big time here on 4th and 28. And considering they are not really good when it comes to the punting game today, they're going to need their best one of the season.
They're saying that they're not good with the punting game today is being generous.
I'm always generous. You should know
it hasn't been. Not only have the punts not been great today, the coverage has not been well either. And now you've got Kenny Prelude, who's made a couple of nice returns already today. And back deep, you've got one of the most dangerous men in this league, and Ronald Butler. This might be the most important punt in Jaguars history.
You may be right there. By the way, Marcus Cowan just shouted us out saying great work with us. Hey, we still got a little more work to do. I'm going to tell your friends to come here for the end of this one. This is bound to be a thrilling finish. We didn't think it was going to be, and then all of a sudden, stranger things have happened. Well, if it's another timeout, then each team has used one because you can't use back-to-back, otherwise it's 15-yard penalty. and we know it's the NFL, but maybe other leagues. So you got to remember, most use NFL rules for semi-pro, but remember, there are some nuances that go along with it. So I think the unit called the timeout. So now the question is, Juan, what do you think they're talking about?
Well, they're trying to establish where are we going to make this return, okay, where are we going to set this up. One of the things that I would probably be telling these guys is, hey, listen, if you don't got a clean shot on this guy, don't take the block, okay? We don't need any blocks in the back. We don't need any illegal blocks or whatever. If you don't have a clean block, don't do it. Don't cost us, because right now you've got, and if you notice, standing on the 50-yard line, he hasn't moved, is Ronald Butler. He has not moved.
He's not going in the huddle either.
He's not in the huddle. He's standing on the 46-yard line, 47-yard line, has not moved.
Meditating and levitating.
So everybody else is, hey, just block, let him go do what he's got to do. Make sure that these blocks are clean. Don't hold. Don't look for that crack back, highlight reel block. Make steady, solid plays, and let our playmaker make a play right here.
Well, we're about to see what happens. I'm sure they have. I think, Prillo, you mentioned, Juan, might be the up man here, and
yes.
Butler, the deep returner, standing on his own 47. Not sure if the ball's going to get that far based upon the punting today for the Jags, but as you said, biggest punt of the season. And you're up 14-6, but it's not a safe 14-6 to say the least, especially when it comes to the unit, the way they come back. I think one thing these teams have to learn from the unit, you play all 60 minutes, and you keep fighting, and you keep fighting, and just when you think the opponent has it in, that's when you make your move and try and get as close as you can and maybe overcome it. All right, here's the snap, and it's not a good punt. And it's going to go out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So if anything, a 24-yard punt. But I think what the Jags are thinking about, don't let Butler beat you. So maybe that was the approach there. But for the unit, they have 35 yards for a chance to tie this game.
And again, with the skill position people that they have, again, we've talked about Stewart. We've talked about Butler. We haven't spoken much today about Harris. We haven't spoken much today about John Marset. These guys are guys who can put the ball in the air and they can go get it. Look for maybe one of these guys to all of a sudden emerge. And
here's something else, Juan, you may want to consider. The Jags in their fall league, they lost a championship game on a bad punt. Based off a bad punt.
I remember that. I want to say it was against the Philly Venom of the ex-EFL, the brother league of the NEAFL, on a fumbled punt return, on a fumbled punt snap. But right here we've got now the unit coming out again in that trips to the right.
All right, so the four receivers set, and Thomas, who has lit a fire under the unit, looking to come through. They're going to spot the ball at the 33. 33 yards to get in for a chance to tie the game. But they have to score first in order to have that chance. Thomas on a low snap, but they're going to go with a handoff. Inside the 25 to the 24. Jab Thompson again. Another 9-yard pick. Actually, they're going to move the chains. It's going to be a first down.
Again, that 9-yard pickup, I don't know if that's going to be productive, considering the fact that we may have a time issue here. We know we're on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
Well, we're not sure, but they're moving relatively, I was going to say relatively quick. And now they're going to say the 2-minute warning. I think we finally got the message.
That's that internal clock that the coaches have, I'm telling you.
Yeah, mine has a few springs that need to be adjusted. But anyway, after the 10-yard run by Thompson. So, they're going to take the timeout here. So they're going to take the 2-minute timeout. They're going to talk about what to do with these 23 yards. Now, you have to get to the 13 first to move the chains. Do you do another running play, or do you try and go with the pass?
Well, now you've got the 2-minute warning. So you've got 2 timeouts. You've got plenty of time from this distance. The thing that I'm thinking about is you've got to think of a play to score, and in the back of your brain, you've got to think about, what are we going to run on this 2-point conversion? Because we decided at the beginning when we scored the last touchdown with Stewart, we were going to go for the 2-point conversion as opposed to going for the 7 with our kicker, Hetner. Now that missed 2-point conversion is critical, because now not only do they have to think about a touchdown play that's going to work, they've got to think about a 2-point conversion play that's going to work.
Well, they can't get to that until they get to the end zone first. There's still plenty of time. But the unit have a chance, and only the unit knew they had a chance. I'm sure a lot of the other audience may not have thought so, but here we go with Thomas, 1st and 10 to 23. They fake the run. Now being chased is Thomas, in trouble, and he'll have to lob it incomplete. He's out of the pocket, so he made the right decision. Throws it out of bounds, incomplete. And now we got a couple of people hurt. Ooh, and Thomas is okay, but meanwhile, one of the defenders for the Jags shaken up. Might be cramps.
I mean, we could look at that play again. We could just discuss that play again.
Yeah, we'll get the replay up while we have this injury timeout. And I think it's going to cost the Jags a timeout because of being under 2 minutes. So describe what happened.
Okay. So if we see here, we have number 23, who's the inside receiver next to Butler. Okay, if you see him, he clears his guy. He's wide open in the middle of the field here after he clears his guy at the top of the screen. But because of the pressure that the Jags were giving him, okay, Thomas never had an opportunity to get the ball to him. So that's what pressure brings. We want to be able to get to this quarterback before the receiver comes loose. And that's one of the things. The offensive line for the unit, they have got to start making their calls and saying, I've got him, I've got him, I've got him. So that way we can get Thomas a chance to be able to see what's going on downfield and get the ball downfield.
And you are correct. It was a cramp issue with the defender down at about the 40-yard line. He's just stretching his leg and his hamstring out. So William Wade checking in saying, Jags defensive tackle, got to get pressure. And, I mean, the unit's done a better job in the second half keeping the pressure away from their quarterbacks. But, of course, now Dominique Winfield's going to predict touchdown. Watch. We'll see. Under 2 minutes left, you never know. So thank you guys all for checking in here on HSG Network. Of course, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to HSG Network. Got another event next Saturday and, of course, some more stuff over the summer. So you miss football? Hey, we got it right here. All right, so following they had to make sure they get some debris off the field. I don't know where that came from, but anyway, 2nd and 10 rather from the 23. They're going triple on the left, 4 receiver set. Thomas awaits in the shotgun, back to the left. They're showing blitz. Oh, and the Jags again anticipate a little too early, come across the line and cost themselves 5 yards, and it makes it 2nd and 5.
That's a terrible call there. Blair showed he was in the neutral zone, never touched anyone, wasn't unabated to the quarterback, and was able to get back in time. That's one of those tough penalties, you know.
And I think that might have also been the case, too. The lineman may have flinched right after whoever it was crossed the line. So 2nd and 5 from the 18. Unit back in the red zone. 4 receivers set, tripling left. Here's Thomas. He'll screen it to Butler. Butler, 15, 10, still going to the 5. And he gets 1st and goal. And Butler just shot out of a cannon there.
That's a great play call. Raheem Wilson loves to throw those little screen passes out to Butler. Get that ball out there and let him do what he's got to do.
That was, I beg your pardon, that was a 13-yard play. So 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Moment of truth for the New Jersey unit out of Newark, New Jersey. Same formation as before. I'm sure they got Stewart and Butler on one side here. And now, timeout called by the unit. Interesting time to call the timeout. I'm thinking there might be about a minute left based upon that, but they are at the 5-yard line. They've got 4 shots. Get it in the end zone, you get a chance to tie the game. So what if you're on the Jag side? Your defense has been jittery. A lot of unexpected penalties. What is your coach? If you're the coach, what do you say to them at this point?
Listen, at this point, there's not much as a coach you can tell these guys. It's play your assignment, break down, keep the play in front of you, and let's get out of here with this championship. Because right now, if we were talking about maybe real time, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, the Jaguar players were on the sideline with the ring me celebration and all that type of stuff, and they got a little bit premature. And you can't do that against a championship caliber team in a championship game. So now they've got to kind of refocus themselves. And sometimes that's really, really hard for certain players to refocus themselves. So the Jaguars here are going to, if they're going to be the NEAFL champions, they're going to have to show and prove right now that they are championship material. On the flip side of that, the unit have come so far to try to make this a game again. They have to keep their composure and keep executing.
Let's see if they go with jab and then go hurry up. 1st and 10. 1st and goal from the 5. They do go with jab, but jab, they were ready for him.
That is a great play. That is a great play by the Jaguars there.
And they're going to have to hurry up.
Once again, Blair was in there. That looks like Nasir Moore was in there as well. Great job by those guys to read and react to that play.
2nd and goal from the 6-yard line after a 1-yard loss.
Right, the unit have to be playing. They've got to pick up the pace here. They don't have much time.
They definitely do not. Thomas in the shotgun. Let's see what he does. Takes it, goes back, has some time, looking. He's got a shot, but it's a little high over Butler, incomplete.
It was a great concept. A great concept. We scored on that slant pattern. Okay, so the first time that they scored, they had Butler come on the underneath route to the sideline from the slot, and they had Stewart come on that post pattern. This time, they made Stewart come on the post pattern from the outside, and they ran the corner with Butler. So it was a similar look of how they scored the touchdown the first time. Now they were trying to go to Butler. The coverage was sensational, and they couldn't make the throw to put it there.
Well, they got 2 more chances. 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line, and right now, the Jags, obviously, their players trying to get their fans into yelling defense, trying to take home a championship. Nothing is ever easy, especially in football. And this time it's empty gun, heavy on the left. Thomas is all by his lonesome. Wonder if he's going to try and call his own number here. He takes a snap, looking. He may have room. He fakes. He's looking. He's running. He's in. Welcome to the end zone. Damian Thomas makes it a 2-point game and gives the unit a chance at a tie.
Tough run by a tough kid. Made that play with his legs. I thought that he was going to get met at the goal line, and somehow or another he was able to get himself in. Now, Raheem Wilson and the coaching staff, the offensive coaching staff for the unit, are going to have to come with the biggest play call of their careers to tie this game.
And, of course, going back to the missed 2-point conversion on Stewart's touchdown reception, I'll be curious to see if they go empty gun again. It's a 2-point game. The score, of course, from Thomas from 6 yards out his touchdown run. Now it's a matter of how is the unit going to set up. They're going to call timeout. So, I think this might be their last one. And I figured why not call it here and design a play. Now, if the Jags have a timeout, they could counter just to see. It's almost like a basketball. One team calls timeout, see how they set up, and then the other team will call a timeout to try and counter it. So, always very interesting.
And again, here's the problem with this. Let's say, for argument's sake, the unit score on this 2-point conversion. Now we have a tie game. The issue becomes now the Jaguars do not have a kicker. So one of two things needs to happen for them. Either A, they're going to have to come up with a great kick return and put themselves in great situations to try to score, or they're going to have to hit one big play. Now, we know they have not had that big play capability today with the exception of that one touchdown pass between Smith and Sanders, between Bailey and Smith. Other than that, the Jags offense has not been that potent today. So we're in a very dicey situation if you're the Jersey Jaguars.
Well, a lot of people have been calling Damian Thomas Dame, but I'll tell you this much. He has, like I said, he put a fire into this unit team when he came in late in the third quarter. He's thrown a touchdown pass. He's run for a touchdown. But now the unit needs a couple of yards to tie this game. And they got one shot. So, in essence, this is their 4th and goal. But even though it's only for 2 points, if they're able to do that, I would not be surprised if the officials call and say we're going to overtime after this. So you're looking at a game-defining play right here. Should the unit score, we may have overtime. If they don't, the Jags will probably go ballistic on the near sideline.
Absolutely.
So
I think what's going to happen here, we can't have here is if you've got your running backs here, I would absolutely run a read option here on the goal line. The Jags are going to probably try to sell out on the run play. Damian Thomas might be wide open on the corner by himself.
Well, this will be an interesting design, and wow, an interesting formation here. Offset eye here. Damian Thomas. Let's see what happens. This is for the tie. Everything on the line here. Takes it, play fake, gets a block, looks, fires. It's intercepted in the end zone, or is it? Both have the ball, but it's ruled intercepted. It is ruled intercepted. The defender got the ball first. This is not Green Bay, Seattle like a few years back. They're still discussing. There are a ton of people on the field already, and the officials still discussing. That might have been the game right there.
Jameer McNair with one sensational play on that pass. And it was a 50-50 ball that he just got to. Made a sensational play on that. Read it great. Got to take your hats off to the kid.
Well, I'll tell you this much, and it looks like the game has been ruled over as the Jaguars have won. And Juan, let me start with you. Offensive and defensive players for each team.
Oh, wow. For the unit, it's going to be Damian Thomas, offensive player.
That I agree.
Damian came in good, had the running touchdown, has the passing touchdown, little bit of fire underneath the unit. He did a great job there. Okay, for the offensive player for the Jags is going to be Nadir Smith. Defensively, the guy who had a key in that game was Marquise Goodwin. Reese Goodwin had a great game as a defensive end. Bunch of sacks, forced fumbles. Did a great job all around.
And I'd give Elijah Bell a lot of credit on the defense for the unit, too. He had a very nice game as well. Vince, more honorable mention, but I'll say this much. It was very close, and this was being a well-played game. Oh, wait, this game may not be over,
It's not over. It's not over.
So there's still time on the clock. So you know what this means? Onside kick.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, the way things – and again, this is where the unit have the advantage. The unit, if they have a kicker who was able to recover these kicks – if they can recover that kick and then they can get anywhere on one play, the only bad part about it is that the unit does not have any more timeouts. So they're going to have to run a play on the sideline if they recover that onside kick.
Well, they have to recover the onside kick first. If they don't, it's over.
Absolutely. And again, that's a decision that if the game goes as it stands now at a 14-12 game, that's a decision that Raheem Wilson is going to have to think about in the offseason. Why did we go for the 2-point conversion here as opposed to going for the one?
Is this something that they have normally done throughout the season, just send out the extra point? I mean, very curiously, because we don't know if the kicker may have had something wrong with his leg today or something. I mean, it's hard to speculate.
I mean, I don't know what it might be because he kicked off after they scored, and they gave the ball back to the Jaguars. I think it was just a strategic thing of let's get the 2-point conversion here, and then if we score, we might be able to, either kick the extra point here to win the game. Not exactly sure what the thought process there was. However, we still have at least one more play that we know of.
Yeah, we definitely do one. Now, just so you know, after the 2-point conversion, a ton of Jags ran onto the field thinking it was over. The judge threw a penalty flag on them for unsportsmanlike conduct. So they've moved the ball up from the main 35-yard line to the midfield stripe. And the Jags think, again, they have it won, but it's still not over. I mean, there have been some crazy endings. I mean, I'm sure, from our broadcast position, we've seen a lot of wild things happen at ends of games. So one just never knows. You got to play all 60 minutes. Never assume anything in life. And they're just going to make sure they have everything sorted out. So, again, the officials I'm sorry. So I think now they're saying that the unit also got hit with an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So if that's the case, then they're going to take it back normally to the 35. We knew the Jags got hit with one. But now if the unit got hit with one, then we go back to normal kickoff. So the offensive guy, he came up with the ball afterwards, but that was after the whistle blew. And that was on the conversion play, which ended up being ruled interception. That was close, but the defender had it first, like for a split second. Then, of course, the receiver then caught. Now, we understand if there's a tie, that normally it goes to the offensive player. But in this case, it was the defender who grabbed it first. So they're going to rule that the interception. That's how the officials deemed it.
It was definitely a bang-bang play. From the angle that I was at, and we have a great shot from up here in the booth.
Why don't we take a look and see? You judge it for yourself.
Okay.
So
we have the rollout for Thomas.
He had time, but look at this. The interception happens here.
Right. So at that point, you can see that Jameer McNair clearly had the ball, and then the receiver tried to make a play after it. But that was a sensational play by McNair.
I felt like Green Bay and Seattle, like I said. Oh, and the onside kick on a line drive, grabbed by the front line and taken down to 41. And now I think the Jags can celebrate.
And how appropriate that the individual who comes up with that is going to be Reese Goodwin, who has had himself one hell of a game from his defensive end spot. Almost appropriate that he's going to be the one to recover that fumble.
And Zoe Martinez gets the coldest Gatorade shower of his life. So, obviously, the Jags are going to go into victory formation, and they will officially clinch themselves as champions of the NEAFL. This is their 9th bowl, even though it's the 8th year of this league. This has been really a lot of entertaining football, to say the least, but now I think the Jags can ease up and celebrate. Nadir Smith, I think you can see a wide smile on his face. He had So that's it. All right, so that's it. They're going to handshake the Jersey Jaguars of West Hampton, Mount Holly, New Jersey. They are the champions of the NEAFL in 2022 as they defeat the New Jersey unit 14-12 here in Bridgeton. Juan, your final thoughts on this one?
Listen, anyone who paid the $10 to get into this game got themselves their money's worth. Congratulations to the Jersey Jaguars on a phenomenal game, and congratulations on being the 2022 NEAFL champions. Congratulations also to the New Jersey unit for not only having a great season but battling back and making this game a competitive game and never showing any quit. Both these teams are going to be loaded and dangerous come next season. Other than that, it was a sensational game. We're going to thank you very much to everyone who tuned in and watched. We've had a great time here bringing this game to you. The YouTube comments have been sensational. And as always, I cannot get off this microphone without thanking you, Tom, once again. It's always a pleasure working with you.
Much appreciated.
And you are welcomed for free anytime to home games with the Garden State Herd. You'll be my honored guest.
That's definitely appreciated.
I would invite Howard. No, I would invite Howard, but Howard doesn't need any invitation. He's
filming somewhere.
Yeah, he's like that uncle that shows up to the barbecue wearing the Air Force sneakers and brings the barbecue sauce, but brings nothing else.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to stay around for a few more minutes for the trophy presentation for the Jersey Jaguars. obviously, this was, in my mind, this was really a well-fought game, a very emotional game to say the least. And John Saplinski, the commissioner of the NEAFL, congrats to him. Very, very good league and also very good championship game here in Bridgeton. Of course, we got to thank Bridgeton, New Jersey, and the high school for the facilities. This is a place I haven't been to in a number of years, but they put on an entertaining game to say the least. And for the Jaguars and, of course, their head coach, Zoe Martinez, I mean, that has got to be the pinnacle of his coaching career, to say the least.
I'll tell you something. When you first get together with these guys and you start introducing yourself to these guys and you ask these guys, hey, I have a vision and I want you to believe in it, it takes a lot for a coach to be able to put that together for these guys to buy it in. These guys bought in from the beginning. They bought into Zoe's mentality, his attitude, his bravado. He talked all season that this was what he was going to do. He talked it into existence, and now here we are with them as a champion. This is the pinnacle of what every single organization wants to do.
And pretty much, as they say, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and they did exactly that. So, obviously, for the folks out in Burlington County, they have new NEAFL champions. We're waiting for the there it is. They're raising the trophy right now at the center. A lot of happy Jersey Jaguars, and at the last second, Deron Maxwell getting into the fray here. But a bunch of happy players. But my hat's off to the New Jersey unit. They're a championship team, and hey, sometimes you're going to lose a few. But you know what? You got to hold yourself high for what they've accomplished. There's no question. All right, so that's it here from Bridgeton, New Jersey. For Juan DePena, of course, Howard Gabriel on the controls. I'm Tom Wilkins. Your final once again, the NEAFL Championship game. It goes to the Jersey Jaguars, beating the New Jersey unit by a score of 14-12.